See you tomorrow, everyone.
And good afternoon, everyone. Happy Thursday. Thanks so much for joining us for Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. We are so glad you're here. We are live streaming on a number of platforms, including TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook, along with our Fox Local app. We appreciate you joining us. I want to talk about something that is happening right now in Atlanta. We know spring break is just days away. Kids just have, 1.5 days left until they're going to get a whole week off. I know I always looked forward to it every year. Well, Mayor Dickens is getting ready to roll out what he is calling the So ATL initiative. He'll be joined by APS Superintendent Dr. Brian Johnson to talk about youth opportunities and safety during the break. And he'll be appearing at the MLK Junior Recreation Center. We do have a camera there. We are going to be talking about that all day here on Fox Local, in addition to all of our newscasts on Fox 5 Atlanta. And this is kind of a good segue. We had a 7-year-old who was shot earlier today at about 1 o'clock in the morning. It's a story that we are following into the afternoon here. I want to get a check of the headline there, along with everything else we're following. Let's check in with Fox 5 assignment manager, Tanya Mendoza. She's standing by at her assignment desk with a look at the day's top stories. Hey, Tanya.
Hey, Tyler. So, yes, busy news day. There was a 7-year-old shot overnight, 1 in the morning, 1:45 a.m.-ish on Kimberly Way at an apartment complex. We have our reporter Angelique Proctor out in the neighborhood right now. The child was shot in the arm, we're told, and is expected to make a full recovery, is what the family is saying. But they do want to remain private. They are asking that we respect their privacy, but they did let our crew know that the child will make a full recovery. It sounds like, from what police said, some sort of drive-by shooting. We did talk to neighbors early in the morning out there, and they described what it was like overnight at that apartment complex when they heard the gunshots. Let's listen in.
I had woke up in the middle of the night, and that's when we just heard gunshots. Then everybody stayed still. And it sounded like some were close, but I didn't know how close they was because I couldn't make out the sound of it, like what it hit, because it was so close. Then the other one sounded like it was farther, and it sounded regular, like when people just shooting in the air. So then when we heard the police officers, like when we heard the sirens and stuff, everybody in the house got up, and that's when we seen that the holes, like the bullets came through that apartment from back there to ours. I was just happy they wasn't on this side, because if it would have been on this side, then it would have most likely hit somebody in ours.
Yeah, really scary situation at that apartment complex, Tyler. Can you imagine hearing those gunshots in the middle of the night? And sadly, that little boy was shot. We'll have an update on that story, and we'll see if police have any suspects in mind. But right now, we don't have that. Angelique Proctor is working to get more information.
Yeah, I mean, obviously incredibly scary. I mean, stuff like that shouldn't be happening. So it's understandably scary for people in that apartment complex. I know she's going to be working to get those details for us that we'll be following throughout the afternoon.
And Tyler, I feel like doing this stream now, I feel like once a week we're talking about a child being shot somewhere in Metro Atlanta. It's really crazy. And police, I'm sure, just, every day they're having to respond to those types of crimes. So it's something that the community in that area is talking about, and we'll continue reporting on.
I mean, kids should be safe in the communities they live. And so obviously things like this grab the mayor's attention. I know he's been doing a lot of different things over the last several years in Atlanta with that midnight basketball, trying to make sure that they're engaged so that they can try to prevent violence in our community.
Yes. And moving on, Tyler, we have Deidre Dukes, our political reporter, over at the state capitol. So it's the last day of the legislative session. I believe they call it Sine Die Day. They, have passed some significant bills already, which one was the cell phones in high schools. The other one, I believe, was talking about the Georgia Early Literacy Act that we talked about yesterday. And that's a bipartisan win, a major bipartisan win that took place. We also have new guardrails on AI for the insurance and healthcare industry. So Deidre's looking at that. She also said that, it's mandatory passage of the state budget that they're working on, high stakes votes on property tax cuts and income tax cuts. So they're still working on that. And there's a controversial bill regarding the future of data centers in Georgia. All of that is still happening today. Let's listen into what House Speaker John Burns said about all of this earlier.
Having great conversations with the Senate, and I believe we will have a property tax. And I'll go ahead and tell you, I think we have an income tax agreement as well too with the Senate tomorrow. So we feel good about that. And there's been a consensus of opinion. We want to do what's best for Georgians, and that's part of our plan, part of their plan. They share that as well.
All right, so we have Deidre Dukes over at the state capitol right now, and Chris King will follow this story through the night. He'll be there until the end of the session. So all of that information will be on at 4, 5, 6, 10, 11 all day long and night. Tyler?
Lawmakers are going to have a very busy night ahead to get everything that they want passed, or let things die on the floor of either the Senate or the House. So we're going to be watching it closely, and we'll be bringing everyone the updates. Another story I know we're following has to do with a sinkhole. This one, I think, in DeKalb County.
That's right. So I don't have a lot of details, but we do have that video right there, and that is impressive. Can you imagine having a sinkhole like that near your home? It's crazy. Eric Perry's out there. He's trying to get to the bottom of this. Basically, residents at a DeKalb County condo are dealing with this sinkhole that continues to grow. Homeowners are stuck in the blame game and cannot get a clear answer on who is responsible for the repairs. The dispute is between the Homeowners Association and DeKalb County over who owns the fix. So Eric Perry is on that, and he'll give us a full update.
Well, Tanya, thank you so much for the update there and all the stories we're working on. I know we have teams scattered throughout our viewing area bringing everyone the updates. I appreciate your time, Tanya.
Thank you.
And let's get a check of some other stories that we are following, including possible deal to end this partial government shutdown, which has been going on for 45 days or so, and it could be coming to an end. President Trump has endorsed a plan by Senate Majority Leader John Thune and House Speaker Mike Johnson to pass DHS funding while splitting off ICE funding into a separate bill that can make its way through the Senate with just 50 votes. The U.S. Senate did its part, clearing the way early this morning, passing the bill along to the House. Johnson has work cut out for him, though, to convince the hardline conservatives in his party to sign on to the bill, and Democrats are claiming victory already. The bill funds DHS partially, with no money going towards ICE or Border Patrol. Thune and Johnson say they will now try to get these agencies funded through the budget reconciliation process, which requires no Democratic votes in the Senate. If the House passes the bill, they would then go to President Trump's desk, where he's indicated he would sign them into law. Obviously a big deal here. That partial government shutdown has caused chaos at our nation's airports, especially because we have been waiting for that funding. Luckily, though, we know that TSA employees have begun getting paid as of Monday, that back pay that they've been missing out on after missing basically 3 paychecks. So that is a story we are following, and if it does pass, we'll of course let you know, and then obviously bring the signing in the White House to you as well here on Fox Local. Well, another story we're also following has to do with the war in Iran. If you know and have been following it, President Donald Trump spoke last night, and his threat to bomb the country back to the Stone Age where they belong is what he had said. And with new missile attacks, Iran is pledging to keep fighting until America surrenders. President Trump outlined a new timeline for wrapping up Operation Epic Fury, saying the military is on track to complete its objectives in the next 2 to 3 weeks. But Iran responded to the president's remarks last night with new missile attacks targeting Israel and Gulf nations. The Iranian military also issued its own warning, claiming it still has stockpiles of missiles and drones the U.S. doesn't even know about. That's what they're saying. The president also once again scolded European allies for not taking the lead in protecting that vital strait in the Gulf area. And on Thursday, the UK responded with a virtual summit on efforts to reopen the waterway. Its closure has sent oil prices through the roof, but the White House says the U.S. is well positioned to weather the storm. And well, Most experts say it will be difficult to fully neutralize the Iran threat in the next 3 weeks. It's clear President Trump is staying in the fight. President Trump says if Iran doesn't reopen that waterway by Monday, he'll target the country's energy facilities. So as we come back into our studio here for Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock, I want to get a check of the forecast. We're looking live over Atlanta right now. Blue skies, a little bit of cloud cover, but it feels very nice out there. I can't complain. I mean, earlier in the day, it's like, what, in the 60s? It kind of goes up to, what are we up, in the 80s right now, or 70s?
We will be shortly. Yeah, we're going to see those temperatures in the 80s this afternoon, and then we're going to stay pretty warm even as we move through the next few days. So you can see most of us have warmed into the middle to upper 70s, 79 degrees right now in downtown Atlanta. Rome already at 80 degrees. That's going to be our hot spot on the map. But we're watching for those temperatures pretty warm today and tomorrow before they start to make a downward turn for our Easter holiday weekend. Now, as you take a look at what's happening up in the sky, we're pretty dry across most of the southeast. I say pretty dry and not completely dry because you can't rule out maybe a pop-up shower here and there. Very unlikely today, but those chances ramp up just a tad tomorrow and then even more as we go into our Saturday. Once we move into Saturday evening into Sunday morning, that's where we're going to see a line of showers and storms push through as opposed to those just kind of hit or miss showers that we could see over the next few days. As you take a look at our hour-by-hour forecast, this is where we can see maybe a couple of raindrops here or there across North Georgia this afternoon. But again, today, expect to stay mostly dry. We're going to be pretty warm in the 80s, a little bit of in and out cloud cover, not too bad for those outdoor activities today. We go into the day tomorrow, and that's where we can see some of that southern moisture push its way in. But areas across central and southern Georgia are more likely to see those storms as opposed to northern portions of the state, where we're going to look for maybe a couple of showers here and there tomorrow afternoon, but all in all, they're going to be very hit or miss. Those chances increase even further, though, as we move into our Saturday. That's where we're looking for more scattered showers and storms during the afternoon. And then that line that's off to the west, that'll push its way across North Georgia late Saturday into early Easter Sunday. So those Sunday plans, we're not going to see a complete washout, but we will be looking for those grounds to be a little wet, maybe as you're hiding those Easter eggs. Make sure you're not putting them in the puddles for the kiddos on Sunday. Now, as we move through the day today, though, you're making those plans for your Thursday afternoon. Again, we're going to stay mostly dry. We're looking for those temperatures pretty warm. We're going to be in the 80s this afternoon, and then we're going to see those temperatures in the 70s later this evening before only falling into the 60s. So here's a look at our map. This is what we're expecting today. Lower to middle 80s, well above average for this time of year. We're going to be roughly 14 degrees above average in downtown Atlanta from where we should be this time of year. Now, something else to take note, our typical highs close to 70 degrees, that's going to be close to our overnight lows as we're only falling into the 60s overnight. So we take a look at the 7-day forecast. We're going to be warm through the rest of the week, but that Saturday into Sunday transition is not only going to bring more showers and storms, it's also going to bring cooler temperatures with our highs falling into the 70s for Easter Sunday and then staying in the 70s through a good portion of next week.
Just quickly, Saturday is obviously 404 Day here in Atlanta. So we have a lot of parades scheduled and different events happening. Is the morning going to be okay for those events?
Morning is looking pretty decent, but as soon as you move into the afternoon hours on Saturday, that's where you want to watch for those hit or miss showers and storms, and then that line of storms later Saturday evening. So your Sunday or your morning hours could be decent, but through the rest of the afternoon, you want to make sure you have that umbrella.
Lauren Robinson, thank you so much for the update on the weather. I know everyone's appreciating that, and hopefully they can enjoy the 404-day festivities in Atlanta. Lauren, thanks for your time. As we come back into our studio here, I just want to mention some breaking news that just came in from Fox. Pam Bondi apparently has been fired as Attorney General, according to sources. They are reporting that right now. We're going to follow up on that and get more information throughout the afternoon for you. But again, the headline, Pam Bondi, Attorney General, has been apparently fired. Fox News is reporting at this hour. We still have a lot more ahead here on Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock, including one of Atlanta's most beloved spring traditions is back next weekend. We're going to talk with the executive director just ahead. Stay with us. And welcome back to Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. We're so glad you're sticking with us and streaming along on all of our platforms, including Fox Local. Let's talk about a story that I think a lot of people enjoy every single year. It's one of Atlanta's most beloved spring traditions. This year is the 90th annual Atlanta Dogwood Festival. It celebrates art, music, and community. It returns to Piedmont Park next weekend. This year brings big changes, though. There's a new ticketing model, and the goal is to obviously keep the festival going and sustainable for years to come. Joining us now is the Executive Director, Brian Hill. Brian, I appreciate you joining us this afternoon.
Well, I'm glad to be here with you. Appreciate you covering the upcoming event.
Yeah, hopefully we can get some people out there for y'all. I know it's a big event every single year. This is the 90th year, obviously incredibly huge. For people who've never been, what makes the Dogwood Festival so enjoyable and gets so many people coming out?
Well, you know, a lot of traditions come and go, and a lot of people appreciate certain traditions, but this is a multi-generational one. There's so many stories that we hear from people that they talk about their grandparents took their fathers to the Dogwood Festival. Their fathers took them, and now they're taking their children. And generation after generation, decade after decade, they have really great memories, really fond memories of being with the community, being part of Atlanta, and just a lot of family tradition backing it up. And it's always got the best of art, best of entertainment, and it's really inclusionary for all of Atlanta. We have an international programming whereby members of all the different communities in Atlanta, instead of like a French-American event or a Greek day, they all come together at the festival, and they all will be appearing on the main stage this year as part of our daytime entertainment. And it really just brings people together and says, hey, I'm part of Atlanta, and I really love this festival, and thank heavens it's one tradition that hasn't gone away.
This year, there's a little bit of a change. There's going to be a charge for people to be able to attend. Why, I know I kind of hinted at it, why the change now, and what is the cost going to be?
Well, we had a really difficult situation last year. At the end of the festival, we had to look at it and try to be as fiscally responsible as possible, and there wasn't a way forward with the expenses and the cost of putting the festival on. So we did a fundraising campaign, and a lot of individuals came forward and really contributed to the festival and gave us enough backing that we were able to say we could go forward this year. But it just is unsustainable, as so many festivals around the country have disappeared. So many of the large, great festivals are now gone for the same reason. So we had to figure out a new business model that didn't put it out of the reach, but made it possible for the festival to continue and people to continue to be able to come to this great tradition. So the entrance tickets start at $5 for Friday, and they're $10 for Saturday and $10 for Sunday, or $15 for the weekend. If people take part in the Mimosa 5K race, their entrance into the festival is included. If they happen to buy tickets for the VIP section, which is got great food, great views of the stage, restroom trailers, comfortable seating, well, that's included. It includes the entrance into the festival as well. And as much as we wanted to keep it traditionally free, there was just no way to be able to afford to put on such a large event and keep it as quality and as safe and as good as it has been over all the rest of the years.
Got me when I piqued my interest when you said Mimosa 5K. What is that? And I also know there's also a VIP experience.
Yeah, there is. The Mimosa 5K is something we started, I believe, 7 or 8 years ago, and it's a chance for everybody to come on a Saturday morning and run the 5K around the Piedmont Park area and in Midtown, and then you end up at the park for a celebratory mimosa for those 21 and over. We've got the ones without the alcohol for the youngers, but it's amazing to watch the giant table set up and all the runners come together and they're toasting their success and the fun of being out there at the festival. And it's a really good way to kick off the start of the weekend. The VIP experience is got seating tables, overview of the stage. You get a nice meal with it. It's from 1 to 4, and it's area that is right off of Charles Allen, comfortable seating. It's got a bar with reduced prices, and it's a really good place if you've been walking the festival, you've been seeing a lot, and you just want to get away and have a nice environment and upscale the experience a little bit. Well, that's what the VIP does, and that's available on site at dogwood.org. And there's our Mimosa 5K tables, and those tickets you can sign up online for the Mimosa 5K. You can get your tickets in advance, your $5 or $10 tickets, and I really encourage that, because what we're doing is having an express line. So when you have your ticket in advance, you'll be able to just go straight through that express line, and you won't have to stop and pull a credit card or do the payment on it right there on site. So it's easy online, dogwood.org, and get the tickets in advance. And we're going to see a massive crowd this year, because everybody wants to celebrate the 90th. And I think that the community is extremely happy that we're able to come back. And we're going to put on a good show.
Brian, you beat me to it. I was about to ask you where people could get the tickets. You already said the website. We're also going to clip this so people can find it on our website, fox5atlanta.com. Brian, I appreciate your time, and hopefully the event goes off without any issues and it goes off without a hitch next weekend. Thanks for joining us this afternoon.
Great. We appreciate you being partners with us on this. Thank you so much.
Thanks again. As we come back into our studio here for Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock, I do know that we talked about this at the top of the hour. Mayor Andre Dickens is speaking ahead of spring break. I want to see if we can maybe take that real quick to see if we can listen to him. I know I can see off to my right over there. He is speaking at the MLK Junior Recreation Center. Let's listen in. Not sure.
This student-led exercise will serve to identify, scope, and develop a potential and first-of-its-kind third space for Atlanta's teens. We look forward to working with Atlanta teens on this project and the final product. So whether it's our Peace Week that Janine talked about, the Year of the Youth, our neighborhood reinvestment programs, or So ATL, our signature and singular focus is to ensure that Atlanta is the best city in the nation to raise a child. And so with that, now it is my opportunity, it's my honor to introduce Genesis, who is a upcoming Spelman graduate who has been working with the city of Atlanta in a number of capacities for all these years to give us teen insights and youth insights into what we can do better and how we can continue to move forward. Genesis?
Thank you. Thank you so much for the warm welcome, Mayor Dickens. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Genesis Hollins. I am a graduating senior education studies major on the JD MPP track at Spelman College, and I am hailing to you from the best city in the world, Atlanta, Georgia. So I want to speak to you today to stand as a living testament that the impact of the Year of the Youth is real. My journey as a young professional began at the end of my senior year of high school while I was still a Maynard Jackson High School Jaguar. Even though I had just committed to the #1 HBCU that encourages its students to be change makers, I had not fully developed confidence in my ability to make a meaningful impact on my city, especially as a young Black girl from what you would call a disinvested neighborhood. When the mayor speaks about a 4% chance of rising out of poverty, I am a testament, as I am doing my best to change my family's future. When my mentor, Janine Lewis, encouraged me to apply for the inaugural cohort of Mayor Youth Ambassadors for the city of Atlanta during the summer of 2022, I had no idea how my life would shift. I, as an 18-year-old high school graduate, did not fully grasp the significance of such an opportunity. In hindsight, accepting the opportunity to intern for Mayor Dickens profoundly shaped my professional trajectory as a youth leader. As an inaugural ambassador, I staffed Mayor Dickens at various community activations, and I shadowed city leadership, which allowed me to see the internal work that make Atlanta the city that it is. Sometimes I think they forgot I was there as they were rushing to beat the clock to serve us, the youth. But what I witnessed was work grounded in integrity, transparency, and genuine care for the residents of Atlanta. That experience planted a seed of purpose inside of me to pursue similar work in the communities that have shaped me. Since my time as an official Mayor Youth Ambassador, I have sought to lead and serve youth in my city with intention and compassion. For instance, last week, I participated in the Spelman on the Hill program, in which I traveled to Washington, D.C., and I engaged in federal lobbying, advocating for gender-based pay equity for Black and brown women. Additionally, through the Mayor's Summer Youth Employment Program, I served as a coach and mentor for Chess and Community, working with APS students to strengthen their professional development skills. Each of these experiences has been made possible through intentional investment in youth. As I prepare to graduate from Spelman College, I am not only considering my professional aspirations, but also my future in the city that has invested so deeply in my growth. Like many of my peers, I am increasingly concerned about housing affordability as I pursue graduate study. The question is no longer simply whether I can build a career here.
And you've been listening to a press conference, a news conference that is going on right now at the MLK Recreation Center in Atlanta. Mayor Andre Dickens is there along with the superintendent of Atlanta Public Schools. They're talking about safety and different things ahead of spring break, which is next week here in Atlanta and for a number of school districts here in North Georgia. My colleague Tom Haynes is watching that newser and will be bringing it to you for Fox 5 News Live at 2 and 3 o'clock when he joins us in just about 30 or so minutes. As we come back into our studio here, I want to talk about something a lot of people might be interested in this weekend, and it's going on in Rome. The U.S. Air Force Thunderbirds are soaring into North Georgia for the Wings Over North Georgia Air Show. So, of course, we had to send it out to Eli Jordan. He is standing by there with a preview. Eli, you have such a fun day today. You got to see the Thunderbirds.
Oh yeah, it's very cool. The Thunderbirds were practicing this morning. I got a little bit of video of that if we want to go ahead and take it. It was really neat. They're doing a lot of the acts that are happening this weekend at the Richard Russell Regional Airport just north of Rome in Floyd County. Happening Friday and Saturday, but they're out doing a little dress rehearsal today. It's been really cool. Got that treat this morning seeing the Thunderbirds flying by, and they're giving quite a show during that rehearsal. But bringing it back here though, right now I am hanging out with one of the performers who's flying a T-28 Bravo, Jerry Jive Kirby. Hey, Jerry Jive Kirby, how you doing?
Hey, Lam, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for talking with me. You were practicing earlier and in this plane. So tell me, what is this plane real quick?
Yeah, so it's a 1955 North American T-28B, right? This is one of the primary trainers of the Navy, Marine Corps, and the Air Force from the early 50s all the way through the mid-80s when we retired it finally.
And you'll be performing this weekend, correct?
I am, yeah. I did a practice today. The air was great. Airplane's got a lot of lift going on to it. You know, I started off with a roll on takeoff and went right into the vertical, and then we started the show from there. So it was a dynamic 10 minutes and really showcased this 1,425 horsepower motor I got on this thing.
I'm going to check it out real quick.
Which incidentally is the same kind of motor that's on the B-17.
The B-17
right?
bombers,
yeah,
huh?
Yeah, so it's a familiar sound to all the World War II buffs out there that have been doing that. So.
And yeah, it does make a beautiful sound. You can just hear those the engine running as you're climbing and stuff. And you know, I saw your little smoke going off as you're doing. You know.
Yeah, we put the smoke out so people can follow the airplane just a little bit better, and for cameras and things like that. So
we got several acts out here rehearsing today. How important is this rehearsal for a show this weekend? Because this is a pretty big show.
Yeah, so every airport's unique. Every aerobatic area that they carve out for us is unique, and so there's visual landmarks that we get. There's timing references that we get. So the dress rehearsal allowing us to see the environment. So when we come in for the show, when we actually have the crowd here, makes for the safest possible environment we could have for people coming out.
What's your favorite part of the show?
You know, I love getting here. I love the excitement of the setup. I love when people come in. That first day, the magic is just intense. I hate it when it's over, so I'll put it that way. So,
but you got 2 days of it. There we go. We got some practicing right there, just flying by. It's really cool. So if some people are watching and they're planning on coming out this weekend, do you have any advice for observers?
Oh yeah, come on out, keep an open mind on everything, bring sunscreen, bring something to keep hydrated with. You know, even though there's clouds out here, sunscreen's very important to stay safe. And then come up to the performers, come find us, ask questions. We're here for you. We want to answer, get you excited about aviation, inspire the youth, and really the mission is, or the inspiration of dream big, dream without barriers. That's what we want you to think about.
Jerry, let me ask you this. How did you get into aerobatic maneuvering?
Well, I mean, I've been flying for 50 plus years, right? So since I was 15 years old, I started. I soloed on my 16th birthday, and then 17th birthday, I had my license, and off I went. So it was already ingrained in me that I wanted to do everything about aviation. But for the pilots out there that are just getting started or just have a private, you know, at your local airport, there's some aerobatic airplanes that guys own. Go up to them. Don't be afraid to go up and start a conversation and say, hey, would you mind taking me up and showing me what this is all about? You'll get the bug really quickly, and then there'll be avenues available for you to learn that kind of flying.
Awesome. Jerry John Kirby, thank you so much. He'll be performing tomorrow and Saturday in his T-28 here. And I'll tell you what, also, if you got a long lens on your camera, bring that too, because you're going to want to take some pictures. And it's the Wings over North Georgia in Rome this weekend, tomorrow and Saturday at the Richard Russell Regional Airport. Come on out, have a good time, and watch some awesome airplanes do some awesome aerobatics. Back to you.
Eli, it's going to be a fantastic weekend. Hopefully the weather holds off. Thanks so much. And we want to go to some breaking news right now. As we mentioned at the top of the hour, we have now confirmed that Attorney General Pam Bondi has been fired, so a shakeup at the Justice Department. This was a story that was first on Fox. Bondi met with Trump in the Oval Office last night ahead of his speech to the nation on the war in Iran, where she reportedly was informed of her ouster. That's according to two sources. One of those sources said by the time Trump took his place behind the podium for the address, Bondi had already lost her job and was on her way back to Florida. Trump is reportedly considering replacing Bondi with Environmental Protection Agency Director Lee Zeldin, according to the sources. And Trump held a meeting with Zeldin at the White House on Tuesday to discuss wildfire prevention, where talks of the transition also unfolded, according to people familiar with the matter. Again, the headline as we come back into our newsroom here, Pam Bondi, Attorney General, out, and there's already talks about her replacement. We still have a lot more ahead here on Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. We're going to be talking about the Falcons' new uniform. That's just ahead. And thanks so much for sticking with us for Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. We are so glad you're here. We talked about the top headlines we're following and all the reporters that we have out in the field. Now let's check in with our digital team. Fox 5 digital content creator Joyce Lupiani is standing by with a look at the stories you are clicking on fox5atlanta.com. Hey, Joyce.
Hey, Tyler. So yeah, I got a couple of really interesting stories for you today. The first one is about a shooting that happened late last week at a Kroger parking lot in Brookhaven. So initially, all we knew was that like a 75-year-old man was like shot in the stomach. And then a little bit later, police released video of the person that they thought, had done the shooting. Shortly after that, we learned that they had arrested this person. So late yesterday, we got a press release that revealed the name and the age of this person. So the person that has been accused of shooting the 75-year-old is actually a 79-year-old man. And his name is Veselin Sepkov. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that correctly, but I gave it a good shot. We also got his mug shot. Now, the one thing that we don't know, we have no idea why this happened. Police have not, given us any reason. We don't know if these two senior citizens knew each other, but they do have him in custody, and hopefully we'll learn a little bit more about that later.
I mean, very interesting. You piqued my attention when you said a 79-year-old suspect and then a man in his 70s was wounded in the shooting. Kind of shocking. I mean, I can see why people are clicking on it and trying to wonder what happened.
Right. It's not something you hear about every day, something happening like this at that age. So the next thing I have is about fake goods being sold at a mall.
Okay.
So over at the Arbor Place Mall in Douglasville, there was a big raid, and this raid followed like an undercover investigation. So yesterday, like a bunch of the police and deputies went into Arbor Place Mall, and they went to like 16 different stores and kiosks, and they apparently found large amounts of fake jewelry, clothing, sunglasses, and phone accessories. So right now, it's not clear if anyone has been arrested, and they didn't give us a list of the stores, but a lot of people shop there, obviously, so everybody's clicking on that story on our website to get more information about it.
I mean, when you go to a store, you would assume, especially if it's at a mall or something like that, you're going to assume it's real. So I'm sure people are just wondering, hey, I was at Arbor Place Mall. Did I buy something a couple weeks ago, a month ago, 2 months ago that was fake? So, I mean, there's that belief that what you're buying is real. So, I mean, very interesting that they found 16 stores.
Right, yeah. Maybe we'll get a list later. If we do, of course, we'll put that on the website. So the last thing
can I ask one question?
I'm sorry.
Do we know what items were considered fake? Did they release that part?
No, they didn't. They just said it was like jewelry and clothing and sunglasses, but they didn't, say it was Chanel or, something like that. Mm-hmm. They didn't tell us the different designer brand names. They just kind of used the generic jewelry and clothing type thing.
Got it. And so now we're talking about the Falcons. This is something I think a lot of people who are sports fans, who care about the Bird Gang. We have two new versions of the uniform, and I actually think they look kind of nice.
Oh, I like them too. And they were actually, a representative was on Good Day Atlanta this morning. So we got a little sneak peek before it went out to the general public, which was pretty cool. So we put a little poll on our Facebook page, and we've had a lot of people weigh in on it. Seems like pretty much everybody kind of likes the uniforms. They got this whole retro vibe going on. And of course, retro is really cool these days. So yeah, pretty much everyone seems to really like the uniforms. There's a few people that kind of find them boring, but nobody said that they hated the uniforms. So yeah, they're going over pretty well, and they are supposed to go on sale April 2nd. Oh wait, that's today. Yeah, they're on sale now. There's a link on our website.
I should get you a calendar, a little planner. You'd be able to look down and know the date. I think, sometimes you see those uniforms that are just so extravagant that people then end up not liking. So you kind of have to pick whether you want to be extravagant or you just want to kind of be basic. But honestly, I think basic is better in this case. I love the coloring. The way they did it looks fantastic.
Yeah, I like them too. Totally agree.
Well, Joyce, thanks so much for joining us and giving an update on all the stories that people are clicking on here at Fox 5 on fox5atlanta.com. Thanks so much. And now we want to talk about the World Cup. We know that is coming to town in just a couple of months. 70 days from now, we'll have the first kickoff. But soccer fans hoping to score tickets to the World Cup have run into some issues yesterday when the final round of tickets opened. The last-minute sales phase for the 2026 FIFA World Cup marked the final chance for fans to buy tickets directly from FIFA. And for the first time, remaining seats are being sold on a first-come, first-served basis, allowing fans to pick matches and seats that were available. So, but even as sales went live on Wednesday, many fans reported website delays, crashes, and long online queues. Unfortunately, though, for a lot of folks, that's going to be something they want to see this summer. But, you know, there's only limited tickets. There's some around 100 matches in all three host nations. And I know here at Mercedes-Benz, you have, what, 70,000 plus tickets. So there's only going to be so many things that people are able to go to. As we come back into our newsroom here, we are going to take you to the Kennedy Space Center soon. We're going to be talking about the Artemis II mission that blasted off yesterday. We'll be right back.
And liftoff. The crew of Artemis II now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Many people watched it play out last night. NASA's Artemis II mission is now in flight. They're preparing for the first crewed flyby of the moon in more than half a century after launching last night from the agency's Kennedy Space Center in Florida. And joining us now to tell us more about this historic moment is Dr. Suzanne Bell from the Kennedy Space Center. Dr. Bell, thanks so much for being here.
My pleasure.
So, we know that they're about to do that flyby of the moon over this 10-day mission. Can you talk about the first leg of this journey?
Well, the first leg is really focused on testing Orion's life support systems as well as the communication systems. So they're going around the Earth twice. They're currently on their second lap. And then tonight we'll start that journey to the moon. So what happens when they test the systems is just a lot of interaction with mission control. It's a very intense work period for them. So for example, unlike the rest of the mission, they were only offered 4 hours of sleep last night. And they knew this ahead of time. But and we'll work all the way till 9 a.m. to test these critical systems so they can be on their way into deep space.
Health hazards. I mean, it's been obviously a very long time since we've gone to deep space. What are some of the health hazards that astronauts are going to be facing on space missions like this?
Yes, deep space is quite a bit different from Earth, as well as low Earth orbit, where the International Space Station is. We have lots of data from those that have a good understanding of what happens. In deep space, it's different. One of the things that's different is that astronauts will be exposed to radiation at different levels and different types than they are, both in the International Space Station and on Earth. So it's really critical data for us to understand how this affects the human body, both in terms of their physiology, but also in terms of their psychology, like their cognitive function. Another thing they'll be dealing with is long-term isolation and confinement. So whereas we're used to, going outside and having lots of room to do what we want typically, Orion is the size of a van, a camper van. They're going to be living and working in that space. So in space, it's really important to be able to exercise every day to deal with the effects of a lack of gravity. So picture now you're in this tiny space with 4 people. The other 3 have to move to the side while the person exercises in the middle for up to 2 hours a day, as well as other things like preparing meals. Sleeping are similar to what you might think of as a hammock that's strung across the middle of the capsule. It's a really small environment to operate, and that's one of the challenges to the human body, both in terms of health, but also their performance.
You said the size of a van. I'm a little claustrophobic. I don't know, are any of them claustrophobic?
I should hope not. We have the luxury of carefully selecting crew during our astronaut selection process, and then the crew have been in extensive training, and so these crews are positioned for success and are really, are likely to adapt well in this environment. Even so, we're putting them in increasingly difficult challenges, and so we need that data from them to understand what are the health challenges, what are the performance challenges, so we can prepare for future missions where we're going to create a sustained presence on the moon.
So obviously this is just the first step. We did the launch with Artemis I, testing the entire SLS system. I know I was there at Stennis Space Center back, 5-6 years ago when they were testing the core stage rocket for the Green Run. This is all about basically, as you said, making sure we can do a sustained presence on the moon. So everything that you guys are going to be gathering and learning from this mission is going to go into making sure that happens?
That's right. So we collect data, as I mentioned, on Earth or in the International Space Station. Collecting data in deep space is just like no other environment we can emulate on Earth. And so it's really important to get that data because as we go into sustained presence on the moon, as we land on the moon, these missions are increasingly difficult. Don't forget that outer space does not inherently support life, and so it's a challenge to live in space. We need the right life support systems, but we also have to protect the body. Preventative exercise before they go to keep their muscles from atrophying. We can look at what else we can do to keep their bone density from declining. We need that information so that we can create the sustained presence on the moon and then eventually go to Mars someday.
It's so interesting. This is something that's been, more than 50 years since we've gotten to do this. What was the excitement level like yesterday at the Kennedy Space Center for all of the NASA teams?
Amazing. I mean, you can see on my face, I had the opportunity to watch it from a viewing area called Banana Creek, which is so close. And we had risers there with some people, and just the applause, the cheering as we watched that rocket lift off into space. This is the new epic era of space exploration. And to see it firsthand like that, I mean, just everybody was thrilled to see that rocket blast into space.
Very quickly, where can people stay up to date? I know we're running out of time.
Yeah, the NASA app, you can actually see and track them going around the moon, as well as NASA TV and NASA YouTube.
Dr. Bell, thank you so much for joining us here on Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. I appreciate your time and your insight. I mean, everyone's obviously 10 days. We're going to learn a lot over that time, and I appreciate you joining us this afternoon.
My pleasure.
And we're going to continue on the space theme, because it's a cool day for some elementary school kids in our area who are working to speak directly with an astronaut in orbit. Our Chris Rosenthal is at Walnut Grove Elementary School with the latest. Chris, I mean, it's kind of cool that they're getting to talk with people at the International Space Station.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've done a lot of interviews. You've done a lot of interviews. I don't know that I've ever actually interviewed or talked to an astronaut on the International Space Station, but that's just what these students got to do this morning. These elementary school students here at Walnut Grove Elementary, for about a 10-minute window, the space station passed overhead, 250 miles up in the sky, going about 17,000 miles an hour. And that was their window to speak with this astronaut, to ask him questions. Astronaut Chris Williams, he's been on the space station since November of last year, and he's up there for about 8 months. They got to speak to him through amateur radio. You've probably heard of ham radio. Well, that's the technology they use. They didn't get to see him, but they did get to hear him. He got to hear them. Just, you know, they got a variety of questions in their 10 minutes, and got to listen in. Let's take a listen.
Hi, I'm Sinclair. What skills do you use on the ISS that students might be surprised to learn that is important? Over.
How'd it go? So on the ISS, there's not a lot of space, and we have a lot of cargo. So one of the skills that I was surprised I'm using is my ability to play the game Tetris. So to put lots of bags into a really small space and make them all fit. Over.
Hi, my name is Madison. How do you talk to astronauts that are in other parts of the station? Over.
Hi, Madison. So sometimes we just fly over and talk to them. Other times we have a radio system inside the space station where we can call people in other modules. Over.
Hi, my name is Paige. Did you or your crew bring a Snoopy or similar zero-gravity indicator on your flight to the ISS? And if so, where is it now? Over.
Hi, Paige. Yes, we did. Our zero-gravity indicator was a little handmade knitted cat. And the wife of the commander of my spaceship made them for each one of our the crewmates, and mine is in my bedroom right now on the space station. Over.
Hi, my name's Torben. When you return to Earth, what is the most interesting part of the ride? Over.
Hey, Torben. Well, this is my first trip, so I haven't had the experience of going back to Earth yet. But what I've heard is when you go back to Earth, when the parachutes of your spacecraft open, it's like being on a roller coaster, and it's super interesting. Over.
Hi, my name is Alex. What's the most difficult or challenging part of your job that you had to train for, but still found surprising once you're in space? Over.
Let's say that the hardest part of a thing that I had to train for in my job was going on a spacewalk. It's really it's really hard exercise and really hard. You have to think really creatively. Over.
Yeah, and the school, they applied for this opportunity last year. They're lucky. Fewer than 100 schools get this opportunity to talk to an astronaut on the International Space Station in real time. So definitely a lot of excitement here. They really showed up big.
A lot of excitement. I mean, for someone who interviews people for a living, my job, that is incredibly cool to be able to talk to an astronaut live and in space. Chris Rosenthal, thanks so much for giving a look inside that. I know we'll see you in just a little bit at 2 and 3 o'clock here on Fox Local. As we continue on here on Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock, if you love treasure hunting, we have an excellent suggestion for this weekend. Marcy Williams, my producer, wrote that for me. Marietta's Cobb Antique Mall is hosting a spring extravaganza this Saturday, featuring a sidewalk sale, delicious treats, and some very special hidden treasures. Let's check in with Fox 5's Paul Milliken.
Hey, everybody. Well, spring is in full bloom, as we know. My allergies can tell me that. I also know spring is here because Cobb Antique Mall is hosting its Spring Extravaganza, emphasis on the eggs. So when you're here on Saturday and you are shopping and there's a lot to be purchased here, you want to be on the lookout for little hidden pink Easter eggs. Inside each one is a gift card between $25 and $100. Just a little extra incentive to come check out this incredible place, and we are so happy to be with the owner, Tracy. It's great to see you. How are you?
I'm great. Good to see you.
Okay, tell me about Saturday. So it's going to be just a big, fun celebration of spring, right?
It is. We're going to have have a donut truck and a spring sale on the sidewalk, and we've hidden 10 beautiful Cobb Antique Mall eggs with $100 to $25 gift certificates.
I mean, it doesn't get any better. Let's walk a little bit. So, Tracy, let's go back in time. When did you become part of the Cobb Antique Mall family?
Back in 2010, we bought the Cobb Antique Mall at its previous location, and we expanded in 2018 to our current facility, over 46,000 square feet.
It is enormous in here. How many, off the top of your head, vendors do you represent?
We have over 200 spaces and 135 small business vendors.
And I imagine there is a waiting list to get in here. Am I correct?
There is a waiting list,
I
Paul.
had a feeling, because that's the thing. I think people that know you and shop here, and I've been here several times, you really maintain such a standard of quality here. Tell me a little bit about that and why that's so important to you.
Well, you can go anywhere really and find antiques, but here we strive to keep a variety. We want something for every age group, from the kids to the kid at heart, and every type of decor, collectible, vintage that you can imagine.
Yeah, and you nail it, because the kid in my heart goes crazy when he walks in here. Speaking of that, there are a lot of very trendy things right now. We're talking vintage clothes, things from the 80s like VHS tapes. That's what you're seeing a lot of, right?
Yes. Yeah. We are seeing a new generation that's obsessed with the 80s and 90s media, whether it's VHS, DVDs, the clothing. Yeah. Oh my gosh, you can spend so little money to look great and a high quality.
Well, speaking of, can we talk about, just give us a twirl if you would, model Tracy. This is like from the vintage clothing selection.
This is actually from our vintage clothing selection.
I'm obsessed with it.
My staff bought it for me as a joke, but joke's on them. I love them.
I agree. This is not a joke. It is amazing. Yeah, and perfect for Easter too,
perfect.
Right?
Yes, it has handy little pockets for all my stuff.
And by the way, you're wearing a ribbon there. What is that for?
Oh, this, by the way, we are Atlanta's best, third consecutive year winning.
Amazing. Well, we knew that already. You guys are the best. Tracy, great to see you. Have a great day on Saturday.
Yes, come on out and shop with us.
Absolutely. And Tim, you come back with me for a minute, because I want to show everybody my favorite spot, my favorite new spot here at Cobb Antique Mall. We showed it on Good Day Atlanta. It is one aisle back. Now, look, when I was in college, my summer job was working at Blockbuster Video. It is still my favorite job I've ever had, other than Fox 5, of course. And so, my heart just burst into a million pieces when I saw an entire 80s/90s VHS store for sale inside. So somebody had all of these, and the folks from Cobb Antique Mall went to an estate sale, brought them all back. It is every movie you ever wanted to rent from the video store when you were a kid. They've got it, and you can take it home, and I want them all. So my shopping will continue now. We'll see you on Saturday at Cobb Antique Mall. I love these movies.
Paul, thank you so much for a look inside of that. And that's going to do it for us for Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. We still have a lot more ahead for Fox 5 News Live at 2 and 3. You have a special treat. My TV dad will be here. Tom Haynes will join you for the stream at 2 and 3. We'll be right back.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the 2 p.m. streaming hour. I'm Tom Haynes in for Ariel Onstadt today. So happy you are with us. We got a lot going on this Thursday afternoon. Want to bring you up to date on a story that is breaking right now out of Washington, D.C. It was just announced that the president has let go Attorney General Pam Bondi following a meeting in the Oval Office last night. Sources say that the ouster occurred just before the president's national address on the war in Iran, with Bondi reportedly already on her way back to Florida by the time the president took the stage, we understand. The EPA director, Lee Zeldin, emerging as a top contender to replace Bondi. Of course, this after the president fired Kristi Noem not too long ago, the Department of Homeland Security secretary. While the White House insists that the pair maintain a good relationship, the president put out a Truth Social post not too long ago praising Bondi for her work, saying that she did a terrific job and that she's going to take a role in the private sector. The White House insists that she is leaving in good standing. So again, the Attorney General let go by the President of the United States. Of course, stay with us. Fox broke this story not too long ago. We'll continue to cover the fallout at the Justice Department as we get more information. Also in the news here at 2 o'clock, a 7-year-old boy shot multiple times early this morning during what police believe was a drive-by shooting in southwest Atlanta at an apartment complex. Let's get out to our Angelique Proctor, who has more information on what police are learning. Angelique?
Well, good afternoon to you, Tom. This, I can tell you, has disturbed a lot of people who live here in this apartment complex. They are feeling very uneasy following this shooting of this 7-year-old boy last night. I can tell you that Atlanta police are trying to figure out who has been responsible for this drive-by shooting that has happened here in southwest Atlanta. It's really another issue that we almost regret talking to you about, and that is children and guns, because when this person opened fire, they did so indiscriminately. This 7-year-old, we've been told, was actually sleeping at the time and was struck 3 times in the arm. Right now, we are at the Ashley Cascade Apartments on Kimberly Road. The shooting actually happened on Kimberly Way in Building 8, we are told. The police tell us that at this time, they are trying to find out who is responsible. I did talk with the victim's family, and they told me they really don't care to share at this time. They said they're very concerned because they don't know who is responsible for this. There have been no arrests, no suspects identified, so they did not feel comfortable talking with us. I have also learned that the 7-year-old is a scholar at KIPP Collegiate Academy. He is a KIPP scholar, and those folks at the KIPP Ways Academy are very concerned, and they said they will do everything they can to assist this family. We did talk to a neighbor who also was sleeping last night. This happened at about 1:45 in the morning. She has 4 children. They were all sleeping when these bullets came through, and actually 3 of them hit her apartment. She has asked us not to reveal her identity.
I'm still lost as to how these kids or guys keep getting these guns. I'm lost as to why recklessly doing it, shooting. We had nothing to do with nothing, but bullets came through our apartment. That could have been my kid. My kids walk to the school bus in the morning, get off the bus in the afternoon. They be having gunfire in the daytime. It don't have to be at night. It don't have to be in mid-morning, midnight. It could be just like this. You will hear gunfire.
And the scholar's family tells me that he should make a recovery, full recovery here after being shot 3 times in the arm. We do know from Atlanta police that he is being treated at the Arthur Blank Children's Hospital, so getting the best of care there. This, though, has been very scary for someone this young. We talked to another person who lives here in the Ashley Cascade community that also got a bullet into her apartment.
I had woke up in the middle of the night, and that's when we just heard gunshots. Then everybody stayed still. And it sounded like some were close, but I didn't know how close they was because I couldn't make out the sound of it, like what it hit, because it was so close. Then the other one sounded like it was farther, and it sounded regular, like when people just shooting in the air. So then when we heard the police officers, like when we heard the sirens and stuff, everybody in the house got up, and that's when we seen that the holes, like the bullets came through that apartment from back there to ours.
And Atlanta police, again, have not said a whole lot about this shooting. It apparently happened on Kimberly Road. They describe it as a drive-by shooting. At this time, we have no information about the type of car that was involved or any suspect information, but I am in constant contact with Atlanta police, and when they have something new, no doubt we will pass it on to you. The other thing that they mentioned is they are very much interested in bringing video camera footage in this area. If anybody has any video or any knowledge about what happened, you are asked to call Atlanta police. Tom?
Angelique, this is so upsetting on so many levels, and you mentioned in your reporting that it's happened time and time again where innocent people become victims of stray gunfire through no fault of their own, winding up in people's apartments, inevitably hitting children. The police chief has spoken out about this, saying that he's going to find the people responsible. And you mentioned the importance of surveillance video in these areas to track down whomever may be responsible. But, you know, not only does your heart go out to these residents that you spoke to, but again, it's just truly upsetting that children have to be the victims of situations like this.
Absolutely. This little boy was sleeping, as were the woman that I talked with. She had 4 children. They're all just sleeping through the night, getting ready for school the next day once they wake up. And so this definitely should not be happening. And you're right. Chief Darren Shearbaum has been very clear that he will find the people who are reckless, who engage in this type of gunfire, and particularly in cases like this, harm our innocent children.
And yet the police chief has come out touting the reduction in cases and murders and crime like this. So it's hard to reconcile sometimes. But Angelique Proctor on top of this unfortunate story this afternoon for us. Angelique, thanks. We have news on a massive crackdown we want to tell you about in Douglasville that's left nearly 20 mall shops shuttered, we understand. Following an undercover sting, Douglas County officials and local police raided 16 stores and kiosks inside Arbor Place Mall. Investigators hauled away truckloads of counterfeit jewelry, clothing, electronics. Police say while the disruption was significant, it's a necessary step to protect shoppers from forged goods. Sometimes people walk in these malls looking for knockoffs, but in this case, that is not the situation. There's no word yet on specific charges or arrests. Of course, we'll keep you updated as that information comes into the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. A former trailer park manager in custody this afternoon after Livonia police arrest her 3 separate times in just 25 hours. Take a look here at your screen. The chaos began when April Taylor reported a fake shooting to police before later being caught blocking the entrance to the Beaver Creek Trailer Park while under the influence. That, according to officials. Over the next day, Taylor was rearrested for making false statements and again for trespassing at the very park that she once managed. Taylor now facing a string of charges, including criminal trespass and disorderly conduct, we understand. Investigators say the park management is cooperating, but they still aren't sure what sparked the bizarre spree in the first place. Senator Raphael Warnock in Hiram this morning to campaign for Sean Harris, who's running to replace former Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene. That is up in northwest Georgia. Harris and Warnock visited a local black-owned business while in that area. It's a close race, one that we're going to be watching as sort of a bellwether as to what's coming in the midterms. A large crowd inside the building to greet the two, and the restaurant's owner was excited to talk with the politicians. Listen.
Listen, we might not agree on political views. We might not agree on football teams. And I ain't gonna hold that against you. But when that fried chicken come out my grease, there you go. And you put a little honey on it. There you go. All right, if you got some sugar and a little cinnamon, we might get at church, all right? Come on, we on our way, right? Hey, listen, I'm grateful to have y'all in here, and welcome to the best cheesesteak spot in Georgia.
I am happy. I am happy that Warnock took the time to come to Hiram, Georgia. It's a small city, but we welcome him, and I'm glad that Sean Harris is all over. He's been to Hiram a couple of times. He's been to Paulden, and a lot of times they miss us out here, but I am glad that they are taking time to visit with us because we too are voters.
All right, that event today up in Northwest Georgia, a lot of laughs there had as the campaigning for the Democratic side happens. Of course, we're covering the Republican part of this race, too. Very closely watched race, not only because these two candidates are running really head-to-head, taking over for a provocative political figure, that being Marjorie Taylor Greene, who you remember had an infamous fallout with President Trump. The president visited Northwest Georgia not too long ago to campaign up there as well. But as I said, as sort of a bellwether for what's to come here in November as we enter the midterm elections, both the House of Representatives and the United States Senate being watched for the balance of power, one that will be closely watched and that Georgia is going to play a big role in. Senator John Ossoff defending his Senate seat. The freshman senator running for re-election. So that's a race we're also going to be watching here in the run-up to the November election. A debate in Decatur whether or not a sinkhole is on county or private property. This one is a story that our Eric Perry is following for us this afternoon. All right, we're going to get to Eric in just a second on that story. Meanwhile, went ahead to Doug Evans now in Fayette County. Fayette Piedmont Hospital seeing more cases of colon cancer in younger men and women, now checking people at 45 instead of 50. Let's get out to Doug. Doug, why the big change in these screenings?
Hey, good afternoon, Tom. You know, this is a topic that a lot of men just simply don't want to talk about, and it's a difficult one. It's not just that Piedmont Fayette Hospital is seeing an increase in colon cancer among people younger than 50. It's nationwide. It's becoming a very serious matter, according to doctors. You know, until a few years ago, the recommended screening cutoff was 50 years of age. So anyone over 50 marched into their hospital and got a colonoscopy as part of a preventative measure for checking out colon cancer. Then a few years ago, that was reduced to 45 because doctors were seeing an increase among people in their 40s who were getting colon cancer. And so it was dropped to 40. They're continuing to see that it is affecting younger and younger people now, increasing about 3% a year. Now check this out, Tom. Colon cancer is the leading cause of cancer deaths among men under 50. It's the second leading cause of cancer deaths of women under 50. Next to breast cancer, behind breast cancer. So it's a very serious problem. This story came our way here at Fox 5 when Piedmont Fayette Hospital, where I'm at right now, reached out and said, hey, they've got a patient in his 40s, Jason Anderson, recently diagnosed with colon cancer and wants to talk about it, wants to tell men to get checked out. Don't skip those screenings. Jason was 43 years old when he was diagnosed with colon cancer. He's now 44. He's just completed his radiation therapy. The tumor, he told me, shrunk by 75%. That's good news. Man, he's the father of 3 beautiful young daughters. His wife, Marcy, joined him for the interview. I talked with him. I also talked with his oncologist, Dr. Chuck Woods. Here's what they had to say about his diagnosis and how the family is handling it.
Talked about your diagnosis and everything, and I would imagine at your age, at 43, that hit like a ton of bricks.
Absolutely.
especially since it wasn't even on the radar before the diagnosis. So yeah, when I found out, I mean, it's a lot of information came at you hard and fast and kind of hard to comprehend, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as you said, no family history.
Zero family history. So no concerns prior to the colonoscopy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this, and it's news that affects him, but it affects your whole family.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. And we have 3 young kids, so we didn't know exactly how to break it to them. So we just did. We just broke it to them. We said, you know, Dad's been going to the doctor, and they were very understanding. Like, the way that they reacted to it was surprising to me. They just kind of took it like, okay, but he's going to be fine. We're like, yeah, we that's the plan. Right. The plan is to get Dad through this and let him be fine.
Yep. So. They're managing it very, very well.
They are managing it very well. Sometimes I think they forget.
It's a hard concept to wrap your head around at that age, too.
Yeah.
Yes.
True. You just don't know the details.
Sometimes kids don't think about things they don't want to think about.
100%. And that's part of the game, too, though. You know, like just being that rock star dad and mom, and I think they forget.
Right.
You know, then we have to remind them and give them the status updates, and then they ask questions. But yeah, otherwise they forget.
I think the main thing is that if you are in your 40s, you know, start thinking about screening, which should happen at 45. If you're a high-risk patient, if you have a sister, brother, dad, mom that had colorectal cancer when they were in their 40s, you should start thinking about it in your 30s. So talk to your physician or provider about that.
Okay, so Dr. Woods there at the end, I think he lays it out pretty clearly. If you're 45, get that cancer screening. If you're younger than 45 and you have a family history of colon cancer, talk to your doctor about it. You may need to be screened earlier than 45. Look at Jason Anderson, 43, when he started having bleeding. And then, here's the other problem. Jason put off, and he'll tell you this, he put off checking it out. He saw what was going on, put it off, told his wife, still put it off. She got involved, made him go to the doctor, and he got that terrible diagnosis. Tom, it's so important that they catch it early. It takes 10 years for a polyp to develop into a tumor, and so the earlier that they catch it, the better off. And I think that Jason will tell you that as well and echo these words. Get in there, get it checked out, make sure that you catch it early. And it's just very important.
Yeah, and Doug, this, you know, includes men and women, and as you say, it's folks getting younger, and it's not like, you know, it's like, well, I don't smoke cigarettes, so the chances of me getting lung cancer are pretty low, even though people do get lung cancer even if they don't smoke. But that is an infinitesimal percentage of people, relatively speaking here. Colon cancer is something that could possibly affect anyone, and for absolutely no reason at all.
Right, and it has to do a lot with our diet, according to Dr. Charles Woods. Processed foods, terrible, just terrible. Eat better, eat healthier, eat more natural, eat more cleanly. That's one way to reduce your risk of colon cancer. The other one is obesity. Processed food and obesity goes hand in hand. Probably so. Get some exercise out there. Wouldn't hurt you to get on your feet. I was once told by a doctor that I respect quite a bit, happens to be my son, said sitting is the new smoking, Tom.
Wow.
So if you're just sitting around, you might as well be smoking.
Interesting. You got to get up and move around. These colorectal screenings, you know, they're no fun, but the screenings in and of themselves can be kind of healthy and cleansing, and you got to look at the positives. Get in there, get it done, and find out. God forbid, if you have anything, you can catch it early, because as you said, Doug, this is a devastating disease if it happens to affect you, and the earlier you can catch it, the better. So some great information coming out of Fayette County this afternoon, and we appreciate that victim coming forward to talk to you. Doug Evans. Doug, thanks. As we continue here, boy, the price of oil is remaining stubborn as the war in Iran continues. The president spoke out about that last night. We're going to cover that and see if there's any relief at the pump on the horizon. The Dow Jones Industrial is down on the news today with the price of oil at where it's at. Plus, we're going to check our forecast. We're starting to knock on the door of the weekend. Meteorologist Lauren Robinson here to tell us if this summer-like weather will continue when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you're enjoying your Thursday afternoon. It is warm out there. Lauren, I feel like it's warmer than it should be. It's feeling a little like June than the beginning of April.
Yeah, absolutely. Temperatures right now should be in the low 70s. We're already in the 80s, so we've been above average for the last few days. Now, if you're looking for this warm, dry weather for Easter, you know, that's right when the change will come. I wish we could just press pause on this weather and then get through the holiday and then let all of the rain come, but, you know, it's going to come when it will, and we do need the rain, so at least we can benefit from that. But right now, we're at 82 degrees in downtown Atlanta. We're seeing 82 in Rome as well as in Eatonton. Some areas still in the upper 70s, but we'll all warm up pretty nicely here over the next few hours. Now, as we take a look at our live Viper radar, there's not a whole lot happening across the southeast right now, but that'll be changing as we move through the next few days, and that's largely due to that low pressure system pushing its way through the middle of Iowa. It's bringing a lot of wintry mix even in northern portions of the Midwest, mostly through Minnesota and into Wisconsin there. But as you take a look closer to home in North Georgia, not a whole lot happening. Now, when I say not a whole lot happening, that doesn't mean absolutely nothing is happening. We do want to keep an eye out for maybe a couple of raindrops here or there. Today, though, will be mostly dry. Those stray raindrop chances will increase a little bit as we go through the next few days. So today, mostly dry. Tomorrow, we're going to look for more of those chances, and then even more as we move into Saturday. We can see that here on our hour-by-hour forecast. This is where you can see maybe a stray raindrop. Again, I think today we stay very dry, pretty warm. Just if you feel a raindrop out there or two, don't be too surprised. Now, those chances increase as we go into tomorrow afternoon. Now, take a look. This is your Friday. Most of the storms are looking to fall further south of our viewing area into portions of central and southern Georgia, even into the Florida panhandle there. But that doesn't mean we can't see maybe a shower or a storm push its way into our viewing area, specifically south of the I-20 corridor. So that's tomorrow afternoon. As we go into Saturday, those chances fill in even more. That's where we're looking for more afternoon shower and storm chances. But that line that's off to the west by Saturday afternoon, that'll be pushing through Saturday evening into Easter Sunday morning. So we're not looking for either day to be a complete washout, but this will be something to keep in mind maybe when you're hiding those Easter eggs. You don't want them in puddles. You don't want the kids running around in wet ground trying to find them, because those showers will be pushing through early Sunday. Now, as for the rest of the day today, we're looking for those temperatures in the 80s through the afternoon. We're going to stay mostly dry. Then we're in the 70s by time we're heading to bed. Yes, 70s by time we're heading to bed. That's where our highs should be. So as Tom was just saying, it feels like we're above average. We are well above average in the middle 80s. Even as we move into the overnight hours, we stay pretty warm. This means the coldest hours of the day, overnight and into early tomorrow morning, are only going to fall into the 60s. So maybe as you're heading to work and school early tomorrow, maybe a light coat if you're sensitive to the cold, but you certainly won't need it as we get into tomorrow afternoon and those temperatures stay in the middle 80s. So we stay warm through the rest of the week, but take a look at those daily rain chances. Today, not nil, but it's not very likely that you're going to see any rain. They increase a little bit tomorrow with more cloud cover, and then Saturday into Sunday, that's where we really see that line of showers and storms push through. Behind that line, you'll notice those temperatures dropping. Now, it'll feel cooler, but those temperatures are actually where we should be this time of year. So we're going to see more spring-like weather right after Easter.
All right, Lauren, let's real quick before you go talk about Sunday, because a lot of people making plans, families are coming over, Easter egg hunts in the morning after the Easter bunny visits. Timing on the storm system coming through.
So we're still a few days out, and so that's something that we still want to keep an eye out for models to become a little bit more consistent. But right now it is looking like it'll be late Saturday into Sunday morning. So you could hold off and wait for the showers to move through, but it's likely the ground will be probably a little wet while you have the kids out looking for those Easter eggs. I say put them in the cute rain boots, and then that's your little photo.
I didn't mind running through puddles when I was a kid. I thought it was kind of fun.
Your parents probably did.
Yeah, probably. Although I was a Florida boy, so really didn't matter. It rained all the time down there. Lauren, thanks so much. Moving on now, I want to talk about the price at the pump. It is going up because of the war and the situation in Iran. Oil prices now surging to $107 a barrel. Today, tensions are maintaining in the Middle East in the Strait of Hormuz. The 13% spike following a warning from President Trump of possible military action against Iran within the next few weeks. The president went on the air last night to talk about this and the possible wind down of the conflict in Iran. But that barrel up this afternoon. Prices eased slightly this morning amid reports that Iran and Oman may be negotiating a transit monitoring deal. But that is not sitting well with stocks. The Dow Jones down almost 200 points today after being up over 1,000 yesterday. The president attributing the surge to Iranian attacks on commercial tankers, calling the regime's actions deranged. The partial government shutdown hopefully will almost be nearing an end soon. This has been an impasse that has stretched on for quite some time now. After President Trump endorsed a plan, we understand, to fund the government and the Department of Homeland Security. The strategy splits off funding for ICE into a separate bill to help clear the Senate, but it still faces potential opposition from within the GOP, we understand. It remains unclear if that measure is going to pass as the nation surpasses 1 month without Department of Homeland Security funding. However, the president signed an executive order not too long ago paying Transportation Security Administration officials, which has kind of loosened things up at our airports. Remember, these wait times were over 3 hours in some cases, and all reports indicate now that those wait times are dramatically lower now at the airport, upwards of maybe an hour or so, depending on when you arrive there. Let's talk about our hometown team, the Atlanta Falcons, sporting a new uniform. They're looking pretty good. Apparently blending the old and the new, into one. And take a look at here what they've come up with. The redesigned look honors franchise history with a primary home set feature of black helmets, red jerseys, and white pants. Built by Nike for modern performance, team officials say that the classic look signals a new era for the organization. Always interesting to see where the Falcons are headed with their new looks. White on the road, red and white at home. Let's listen to a little bit of what the Falcons had to say.
What we got, bro? Come on, Joey, show me something special, man. Let's see what we got here. Oh my God. Oh man. Ooh, okay. I can drip in this. About time, man. It's hard. Yes. I love it. Yep. 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 Ah, let's go.
All right, that's the Falcons player reaction. What about yours? We're all over social media, as you know, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. Drop your comments in the chats. We'll take a look and possibly read some of them here on the stream. But pretty cool jerseys for the upcoming season for our Atlanta Falcons. There was big news out of one local school here in town, shocking many who live in the area and many who have sent their kids to this school. It closed abruptly. We're going to talk about that as we continue. Welcome back, everybody. You're watching the 2 p.m. streaming hour. I'm your host, Tom Haynes, in for Ariel Onstadt on this Thursday afternoon. Certainly glad you're streaming with us today, whether you're watching on our Fox Local app on your mobile device. We are certainly glad you're with us today, or through one of your live channels on your home TV. Welcome to you as well. One of our social media sites on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're all over the place at Fox 5 Atlanta. Or if you're listening to us on the radio today, 107.9 HD2 FM, we're certainly glad you are here. Well, there was a shock in our local school system as the Midtown International School announced yesterday that it is abruptly shutting its doors on Friday. This is before the end of the school year. So the students who go there are going to have to decide where they're going to finish out the remainder of the school year. The school, which focuses on supporting gifted and high-achieving students, sent a letter out to families Monday announcing the immediate closure leaving students without a school to end the year at, and teachers, frankly, without a paycheck. You wonder how much warning these families had and the staff that work there. The school's board said it made the decision to close after 20 kindergarten through 7th grade students left the school, so a little bit of a shortage of enrollment. This school sits right on Briarcliff Road and Sheridan in DeKalb County, all right? So it's valuable property right across from the Emory University Orthopedic Center, the Hawks training facility, an elite health club right next door, residential and apartment buildings. So one wonders what will become of this land. The Midtown International School director spoke out about the closure.
We were seeing that coming over time. We haven't seen the growth that we wanted. We had a big meeting with all the middle school students, and I remember in particular one of the students said, I'm an empath and I really feel for the teachers right now. Like, he actually started crying on behalf of the teachers. We're putting in our grades and making sure that we're trying to help students transfer to other schools and writing recommendation letters and things like that.
All right. Thanks to the focus for that school now will, as that faculty member said, placing these students in other schools to finish out the school year. And then the focus, of course, will be on finding these teachers and administrators jobs elsewhere. But some pretty shocking news, if you're familiar with the Midtown International School, that it is shutting its doors. Perhaps you saw it here on Fox Local and Fox 5. President Trump taking to the airwaves last night to talk about the war in Iran. He said that the military could conclude its offensive against Iran within 2 to 3 weeks, while signaling a shift in responsibility for securing the Strait of Hormuz. The president telling Americans Wednesday night that after 32 days of Operation Epic Fury, Iran is essentially really no longer a threat.
Thanks to the progress we've made, I can say tonight that we are on track to complete all of America's military objectives shortly, very shortly. We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to bring them back to the Stone Ages where they belong. In the meantime, discussions are ongoing. Regime change was not our goal. We never said regime change, but regime change has occurred because of all of their original leaders' death. They're all dead. The new group is less radical and much more reasonable. Yet if during this period of time no deal is made, we have our eyes on key targets. If there is no deal, we are going to hit each and every one of their electric generating plants very hard and probably simultaneously. We have not hit their oil, even though that's the easiest target of all, because it would not give them even a small chance of survival or rebuilding. But we could hit it, and it would be gone, and there's not a thing they could do about it. They have no anti-aircraft equipment. Their radar is 100% annihilated. We are unstoppable as a military force. The nuclear sites that we obliterated with the B-2 bombers have been hit so hard that it would take months to get near the nuclear dust. And we have it under intense satellite surveillance and control. If we see them make a move, even a move for it, we'll hit them with missiles very hard again. We have all the cards, they have none. It's very important that we keep this conflict in perspective. They were the bully of the Middle East, but they're the bully no longer. This is a true investment in your children and your grandchildren's future. The whole world is watching, and they can't leave the power, strength, and brilliance. They just can't believe what they're seeing. They leave it to your imagination, but they can't believe what they're seeing, the brilliance of the United States military. Tonight, every American can look forward to a day when we are finally free from the wickedness of Iranian aggression and the specter of nuclear blackmail. Because of the actions we have taken, we are on the cusp of ending Iran's sinister threat to America and the world. And I'll tell you, the world is watching. And when we do, when it's all over, the United States will be safer, stronger, more prosperous, and greater than it has ever been before.
President Trump speaking last night about the war in Iran, updating Americans on the status of the war, saying that he hopes to have it wound up in about 2 to 3 weeks. The president also saying that the economic gains all positioned us to get rid of a cancer that had long simmered, particularly threatening those in the Middle East and Europe. The president speaking again last night, a speech that you saw live right here on Fox Local and our broadcast channel, Fox 5. Perhaps you saw the launch yesterday afternoon or evening, kind of around 6:30 in the evening, 6:40, NASA making history with the launch of the Artemis II rocket with 4 astronauts on board, headed to the dark side of the moon. It is en route right now. Let's get out to Rebecca Castor, who is at Kennedy Space Center for us this afternoon. Rebecca, just tell us, if you will, you watched the launch, what it was like to see that thing go up.
Hey, Tom. Well, it was truly remarkable. This was my first time watching a rocket launch into the sky. And how I've been describing it to people is it sounded like thousands of fireworks were all being set off at one time. And you really felt that rumble deep in the pit of your stomach. So really an exhilarating day yesterday.
Yeah, and where is the crew? I mean, a lot of people are following this mission. Where would you say they are in this mission? How close to the moon? When are they supposed to slingshot around the dark side of the moon?
Yeah, so cool with social media nowadays that we can really follow this really minute by minute. So right now, the crew is still in high Earth orbit, and they are testing critical systems on board the Orion spacecraft. They want to make sure that everything is good to go before they head to the moon. And if everything is good to go, they're going to do what's called the translunar injection burn later today. This is the big event, and that is going to put them on a path to the moon, and they should be getting around the moon day 5 and 6. So that's going to time out to by about Monday, they should be getting to that far side of the moon.
We understand the crew going to lose contact with mission control while flying around the moon. Why is that? I mean, is it because I guess the moon sort of blocks the transmissions back to Earth?
Yeah, that's exactly right, Tom. So they're going to lose contact with Houston for about 40 to 50 minutes on Monday when they go to the far side of the moon. So a little bit of a stressful part of this mission, but this is a planned part of the mission. The crew knows this is going to happen. And honestly, at this point, the Orion spacecraft will be able to fly itself and navigate itself fully on its own without communication with the ground team. And really at this time, the astronauts are going to be focused on taking pictures of the dark side of the moon and writing down observations. So certainly it's going to be a time when the Houston ground team is a little bit anxious, and they're going to be really excited when that communication is reinstalled with the team when they get to the other side of the moon.
I am so excited to see these images of the moon come back, Rebecca. This, of course, all setting the table for an eventual landing on the moon. What is the time frame, first of all, of when these astronauts are going to return to Earth, and then when the sort of real, if you will, in quotation marks, mission takes place, when we're going to step foot out onto the moon again?
Yeah, so if everything goes to plan up there, the astronauts that are currently up there, they will return to Earth on April 10th. They're set to splash down off the coast of California in the Pacific Ocean on April 10th. And then this, like you said, it's setting the stage for a future moon landing. NASA says they are on target to put humans on the moon by 2028.
It's so cool and such great coverage for us here on our local stream. Rebecca Castor reporting from the Kennedy Space Center this afternoon. Rebecca, thanks. Well, speaking of outer space, students at Walnut Grove Elementary in Gwinnett County got to speak with astronauts on the International Space Station today. How cool would that be? Our Chris Rosenthal was there for the experience.
These students here at Walnut Grove Elementary have had an incredible experience this morning, getting to speak with astronaut Chris Williams aboard the International Space Station. They had only about a 10-minute window to speak to the astronaut as the International Space Station passed overhead, traveling at over 17,000 miles per hour, only 250 miles above Earth. This is made possible through amateur radio, through ham radio, you may know of it as, and gave him the opportunity to ask him some questions and get some interesting answers as to what life is like on space.
Hi, my name is Dalal. What is one simple everyday moment that you love most about living in space that you can't experience on Earth? Over.
Hello. Every evening I like to go to the cupola, which is the area of our space station with a lot of windows, and just sort of sit quietly and look at the Earth and think. And that's something I'm going to really miss when I go back to Earth. Over.
Hi, my name is Daniel. Can a fidget spinner spin forever in space? Over.
Hey Daniel, that's a really great question. I think a fidget spinner, especially inside the space station, would spin for about the same amount of time. But outside the space station, it might spin a little bit longer. But there's still some friction in the fidget spinner bearing that would slow it down after a little while. Over.
Hi, my name is Atia. When outside the station on a spacewalk, what is the most unbelievable feeling you have looking down on Earth? Over.
Hey, that's a great question. I went on a spacewalk just a couple weeks ago, and one of the most unbelievable feelings is just how small you are and how big the Earth is, which you really get a perspective of when you're out there in your spacesuit. Over.
Hi, I'm Sinclair. What is the coolest thing you have seen the Earth do from space? Over.
Hi, Sinclair. I think the coolest thing I've seen is the northern lights. We get to see those a lot from up here, and there was one day where there was a solar storm, and so the sky was glowing green and red outside our windows, which was really cool. Over.
Hi, my name is Madison. Do you feel famous when you're in space, or does it just feel like you're doing your job? Over.
Great question, Madison. I just feel like I'm just doing my job up here every day. Yeah, I don't feel famous at all. Over.
This opportunity took months in the making. The school had to actually apply for this opportunity. Only about 100 schools a year get this opportunity to speak with an astronaut, and the students have been studying for months about space and decorating their entire school with sort of a space themes. So truly a unforgettable and exciting opportunity for these students today. Back to you.
Amazing, Chris, thanks. And you're right, what an opportunity for those students. I loved the rapid fire questions when the student would ask a question, say over, and then the astronaut would quickly respond with the answer to whatever question those young people asked. Certainly an experience that they will undoubtedly remember for a lifetime. Sticking with the space theme here, Atlanta Public Schools reaching for the stars today as a district landmark prepares for a major comeback. District leaders are working to revive the APS planetarium. How about that? The original planetarium opened in the late 1950s during the height of the space race and was a staple for local students for a half-century before funding shortages forced its doors to shut in the early 2000s. The district says the revived planetarium is going to serve as an interactive site to spark student curiosity and bridge the gap for the 1.4 million qualified workers needed in the field by 2030.
I love to say that we planned today to be the day, but something special happened today, is happening today across the country, right? Space Shuttle Artemis is in the air, going 700,000 miles up for 10 days. And one of those individuals, Victor Green, 49-year-old member of that group, is a black man that is a part of that mission. The furthest astronauts have ever gone. And so it's special and important in Atlanta Public Schools when we talk about sparking student curiosity and making students curious learners. We're excited about what this space will do. When you look across the country, the reality is there are 10 million jobs in the field, in the STEM field. 10 million jobs in science, technology, engineering, and math. And in the next 5 years, there will be 1 million more jobs in that field. And by 2033, there's expected to be 1.4 million vacancies in the field of STEM. So our students deserve the opportunity to be exposed. This community deserves, it's not just important from a symbolic standpoint for the community and to return this back to the community, but it is important as we hold true to our commitment to positioning our students for the future.
Superintendent Brian Johnson talking about the reopening of the planetarium. Something that's really, really important for the school system. The planetarium will allow students to go to space without even leaving Atlanta, where they will feel like they're in the stars and see other planets up close. As we continue, Thunderbirds going to be in Metro Atlanta this weekend. We're going to talk about that with our Eli Jordan as we continue. Welcome back, everybody. So happy you're sticking with us this afternoon here on Fox Local for the 2 p.m. hour. I'm Tom Haynes, your host, with you live here in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. We've covered a lot of ground today, a lot happening on this Thursday afternoon. The Thunderbirds coming to Atlanta. The Elite Air Force pilots are going to be at the Winds Over North Georgia Air Show in Rome. Let's get out to our Eli Jordan, who is out there. Eli, love the hat and sunglasses. This is all in preparation for the Thunderbirds. Quite a spectacular show if you haven't seen them.
Oh yeah, it's great. They were rehearsing this morning and it was very, very impressive. And they're going to have another rehearsal coming up in about 30 minutes, Tom. And so in the next hour, we might have a little preview of this weekend, tomorrow and Saturday's events. But yes, here at the Russell Regional Airport, just north of Rome, they're going to have the wings over North Georgia. And the Thunderbirds will be flying tomorrow and Saturday, around 4:40 tomorrow and around 4 o'clock on Saturday. So the gates open at 1 o'clock tomorrow and get here early, and then gates open up 9 a.m. on Saturday, so get here early. But I want to show you something. I am here at Show Central for the Thunderbirds. This is where all the communication happens, and I am with Hannah Durbin. She is the public affairs person for the Thunderbirds. Hey Hannah, how you doing?
Hey guys, what's up? We're so excited to be here in Rome.
And so tell me, where are we and what do they do here?
Yeah, so this is Show Center. This is the heartbeat of the demonstration for the Thunderbirds. So when most people think of the team, they think of the 6 jets in the air. None of that would happen without the team that's right here at Show Center. So we've got folks that are doing our music, our narration, safety deconfliction for other aircraft that are flying in the air. We also have folks that are doing all our radio communication and safety observation and deconfliction.
So when we're hearing the announcer, when people are, observing and watching the show tomorrow, and, we heard the announcer this morning going through the rehearsal.
Yep.
Where is that announced?
That'll be Thunderbird 8. Raz, he stands right here. He'll have a mic, and then he'll be working with our DJs who are here. I think one of the cool things is, DJ is not a job in the Air Force, so this is like a secondary duty for our 1 Charlies, which are our flight records folks. So everyone here at Show Center is learning a job in addition to the regular Air Force job to make the demonstration happen.
Right on. Get to learn some DJ stuff. So how many shows do you guys put on a year, would you say?
We travel to about 30 different locations to do about 60 demonstrations throughout the year. So we'll be in a different spot across the country pretty much every weekend from now until November.
And how long does the demonstration last, would you say?
Demonstrations right around 30 minutes. So we've got 3 different demonstrations, so a flat, a low, and a high show that are all dependent on weather conditions. So no matter what, we can execute an awesome show for you.
So this morning, the rehearsal was going on. How was the air?
Air was cool. So yeah, I don't normally fly, but this morning I was in the back seat with number 4, our slot pilot, Slasher. It was an incredible experience. It was my first time flying in the demonstration.
Your first time for demonstration?
Yeah, first time. Done a few cross countries, but nothing quite prepares you to fly, directly under your boss.
Now, I got a little video of that if you want to roll that, because I got video of that rehearsal with her in number 4, and maybe you might be able to spot her if we roll some of that video. But so you got to fly. Was it fun?
Yeah, it was awesome. It's just crazy. From the public affairs standpoint, we see the GoPro footage all the time, but to actually be there and see it with your own eyes, like nothing compares. It was awesome.
Awesome. Well, we'll come back in about an hour or so. Hannah Durbin, thank you very much. And that's what's happening here, Tom. This is Show Central. This is where they coordinate with the pilots as they fly, and they're going to be doing another rehearsal in about 30 minutes, and they'll still be in the air when they come back, when I come back, and then hopefully I'll be able to show some really cool F-16s flying by and the area as they rehearse for the show.
We would love to see that for sure, especially happening live right here on the stream. Eli, of course, you're going to be with us here in the next hour. This, of course, all weather permitting this weekend. So we hope that we're crossing our fingers that we get good weather because we know some is supposed to be moving through. Eli Jordan out there at the wings over North Georgia. Eli, we'll see you here in the next hour. Thanks so much for joining us for the 2 p.m. streaming hour. I'm Tom Haynes, live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. I'm not going anywhere. The 3 p.m. streaming hour is up next. Good afternoon. It is a brand new hour here on Fox Local. I'm your host, Tom Haynes, for the 3 p.m. streaming hour, live with you from the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom as we cover a lot of ground as we head into the Easter weekend. You know, this is the time for legislators to pass bills at the state capitol before what is known as Sine Die, which is going to happen later today. Let's get to our Deidre Dukes, who is live inside the state capitol this afternoon. Deidre, it's sort of a race to the finish line at this point.
That's right. Absolutely, Tom. Many would argue that this is indeed the most important day of the legislative session, the final day, day 40, when they take up a mountain of bills that still must clear both houses if they are to have any chance of being passed. Anything that passes both the House and Senate by the deadline today, or really possibly into tomorrow morning, will then head to the governor's desk. He can either sign or veto the legislation at that point. And so, as you might imagine, there's just a mountain of bills in both the House and the Senate that our lawmakers are working to try to clear today. Just to give you an idea of what has already passed, several major priorities have already crossed the finish line this session, including the Georgia Early Literacy Act. I talked about that yesterday. That passed just this week. It aims to put reading coaches in every elementary school here in the state. Lawmakers also earlier this session moved to restrict cell phone use in high schools, and they passed new guardrails on how artificial intelligence can be used in insurance and health care. And then just this morning, the Senate passed a bill to curb ambulance costs. It now heads to the governor's desk. Now, what this legislation does is it eliminates surprise bills that sometimes come after people are transported by ambulance to the hospital, and oftentimes people will get costly bills that aren't covered by their insurance. And so this just assures that if it becomes law, that ambulance transport will be, whether it's in or out of network, will be covered by an insurance provider. Of course, there's still a lot of work to be done down here today. We're still waiting for final votes on property tax. We are also looking at votes on further income tax cuts to come up, and controversial push to repeal tax rates for data centers. We did hear today from a veteran Democratic Senator, David Lucas. He expressed this morning his frustration with the House because the House and Senate are still hammering out a final budget. They're trying to find compromise on their individual versions of the budget. They must come to some consensus, and they must, by law, pass a budget before the end of the legislative session, and they still have not done so, have to do that today. And so this veteran Democratic Senator, David Lucas, expressing his frustration, said that the Senate should hold off actually on considering any House bills today until that the Senate and the House can come together, come up with some type of a bill, final budget that they can agree on and pass that, and then follow up on the other legislation that's still out there. We talked to one of his Republican Senate colleagues today about his remarks, and here's what he had to say.
Very excited to see us pass a bill that would move Georgia to a hand-marked paper ballot system. As you can see, we would become one of the green states on this map, and we are currently an outlier using ballot marking devices, and this would allow us to adjudicate our elections the same way most of America does. About 2/3 of the citizens in America vote on a hand-marked paper ballot, and we would move in that direction.
Number one problem is July 1st, 2026. Puts a lot of stress onto the counties. Two types of stress. Number one, the time crunch, and then of course secondly, we don't even necessarily know how much it's going to actually cost. So those are the two things that are very concerning. So you have a time situation, and if you remember correctly, there was actually an amendment that was suggested in that particular committee to change it to 2027. That doesn't quite put you in the same kind of time crunch. Unfortunately, it was rejected. So now think about that. The counties would just be coming off their election, immediately now have to go to change this for the November election. That'd be very difficult on them. And then of course, because we don't fund elections, we don't have no idea how much it's actually going to cost the counties to actually do any of this. So
Now, that's not the right sound, so we apologize for that. That's actually another bill that actually was debated earlier in the Senate. But we can tell you that that lawmaker did say that he is confident that we will see some sort of a compromise and with lawmakers, because they are actively working behind the scenes on trying to hash out a budget. And you know, it sounds like there are millions of dollars difference in what the Senate wants to spend and what the House wants to spend as far as a final budget, but they always seem to meet in the middle, and it is expected that they will, of course, come to some agreement and pass that bill. But how late into the day, that is the question as to when we'll see that, Tom. But as you know, we have been here late into the night, early into the next day, before we can call sine die, and it is expected that it will be no different today, Tom.
Yeah, this is a storied, as you know, Deidre, tradition at the state capitol, the last day of the legislative session. What bills sort of move up to the very end, to the end of the wire? In other words, I guess my question is, why do these pass with such barely little time left before the doors close there at the state capitol? Were they just sort of late in making their way through the legislature? Were they introduced late in the game? Like, why do these kind of few remaining bills just go right under the wire?
Yeah, not necessarily, Tom. I think it's a mix of things. As you know, a lot of times bills don't make it over. They may clear one house and then not make it through the other house before crossover day. So theoretically, that bill would be dead, but then not really, because oftentimes what happens is if it is a bill that a lawmaker feels passionately about and can convince other lawmakers who share his or her concerns or passion for that particular legislation, they can gut a bill that already did make it over on crossover day into the other house, and then the process kind of starts all over again. So it really can drag out this whole process. And then because there are frankly so many bills and so many committees that these bills have to clear in so many instances, oftentimes that's why you kind of see this backlog of bills. And then bills are also introduced throughout the session, so you also may have a situation where a bill may have been introduced rather late in the session. And bills don't have to be, if they make it to the floor of the House or Senate, they don't automatically have to be voted on immediately because they have made it there. So you may have a long list of bills that have reached the point where they can be voted on, but they can be called up in any order that the Speaker or the House leader want to call them up in, you know, and so that's why we see that this is a very lengthy and slow process oftentimes.
You know what? It's just a brilliant state civics lesson that you just provided us, Deidre, on how the so-called sausage is made in terms of state law, making their way through both chambers of the state legislature, and for those that pass, eventually onto the governor's desk for his signature. Always reliable for such great information and so instructive. Deidre Dukes live at the state capitol for us this afternoon. Deidre, thanks. A massive crackdown in Douglasville that we want to talk to you about at a mall of all places, shutting down a lot of kiosks at this mall and stores. Nearly 20 mall shops shuttered today in Douglasville following an undercover sting. Douglasville deputies and local police raiding about 16 stores and kiosks inside the Arbor Place Mall. We're getting news of this afternoon. Investigators hauling away truckloads of counterfeit jewelry, clothing, and electronics. Police say while the disruption was significant, it is a necessary step to protect shoppers from forged goods. No word yet on specific charges or arrests, but of course we'll continue to keep you posted on what happens at this mall and the reasoning behind the shutdown. A former trailer park manager arrested for the third time, 3 separate times. Get this. In just 25 hours, the chaos began when April Taylor reported a fake shooting, according to police, before later being caught blocking the entrance to the Beaver Creek Trailer Park while under the influence. Over the next day, Taylor was allegedly arrested for making false statements and again for trespassing at the very park that she once managed. Taylor now facing a string of charges, including criminal trespass and disorderly conduct. Investigators say that park management is still cooperating, but they still aren't sure what sparked the bizarre spree in the first place. But this person arrested not once, but 3 times in just 25 hours. Well, there's an issue happening in Decatur over a sinkhole. And the question is whether it's on county property or private property, which means who's going to fix it? Let's get out to Eric Perry on top of the situation for us. Eric?
Yeah, it's really frustrating for those who've lived here. I talked with a woman. She's been here since 1987, and she says the sinkhole has been here since before COVID, before the pandemic. Take a look at it. This is through the gate here. It's a massive sinkhole. It sits by its clubhouse. Let's also get you to some video. We put the drone up, Skyfox drone, to get a better look from up above to really show how deep and wide it is here. This is at a condominium complex. It's off of Columbia Drive here in Decatur, DeKalb County, and they're trying to figure out who's responsible. So residents say they've kind of been getting the runaround. They've gone to their HOA board. The HOA board is putting blame on DeKalb County saying that it's not their issue here. Well, I did some digging. I reached out. DeKalb County says this is private property, so this would fall with the HOA board here. I did reach out to the HOA board. They did just send me an email within the last 10 minutes. They must have known we had a live shot here at 3 o'clock. So here's what they said. They says they're making an effort to address the situation. They say as resources are received, we continue to inform property owners, they say, with updates by emails and newsletters. They also say that they have 40% of the finances to complete the project for the sinkhole. So they still need 60% of funds in order to do it. But those who I've talked to on camera and off camera, they all say it's an eyesore. They have gates up around it, and they say it's been so long and so dangerous for those kids and the people here. They just want their community back. They want their property back, and they want it to be fixed as soon as possible, Tom.
Yeah, and Eric, you're out there sort of on the scene. How are they protecting children? It's a danger. I mean, from the Skyfox drone footage that you provided us, it looks like a potentially hazardous and dangerous situation. Did they cordon it off, telling residents to stay away?
Yeah, so there is a gate. We'll take you back over there. So there's a gate on all sides through here, so you're not able to go through. So this is the pool area and the clubhouse, and then they put up an additional gate to go around this one. There's also a small kind of fencing, smaller type of fencing that's closer to that hole that's there. So that's some good news. A lot of the kids that we've seen, we saw some playing out here today. It looked like they knew to stay away from it. So you will have to force your way to get over. You're not accidentally going over into this property. But again, just an eyesore here, and where they pay their money, they want to be able to use all of the resources that are available to them where they live.
Well, you can't blame them for that. And perhaps you already covered it for us here, but did they give a timeline on when this might be repaired once and for all?
Yeah, so I mentioned that the Homeowners Board Association, they said that they have 40% of the funds, so they need another 60% of the funds in order to finance this. I think that's something that a lot of the residents who I talked to, they didn't know about that earlier. They were still getting the runaround themselves. They want transparency with that, but the HOA board says that they only have 40% of the money to take care of this issue. So they're still waiting for another 60%, and this has been here like this since at least 2018, maybe even before that.
Wow. Well, you can understand the frustration there among residents in Decatur, where that sinkhole is not only an eyesore, but a danger to residents in that area. Lost Eric's shot there, but Eric Perry reporting on that issue for us this afternoon. Eric, thanks so much. A new tiny home village in Marietta, one step closer to providing stability for some homeless students, we understand. Emmanuel's Village will feature 15 homes along Cobb Parkway, offering families a safe haven for up to 18 months. The $3.2 million project is a partnership between Must Ministries and Marietta City Schools. The city of Atlanta doing a lot for the homeless population in the downtown area. Looks like Marietta is joining that effort. Nearly 500 local students are currently without permanent housing. Construction remains on hold until the remaining $1.8 million in funding is secured. As we continue, we got an update from President Trump on the status of the situation in Iran, but no doubt it is affecting oil prices. If you've been to the pump recently, you know that they, in some cases, are above $4 a gallon as we head into the warm spring and summer seasons. We're going to talk about that issue as we continue here in the 3 p.m. streaming hour on Fox Local. You are watching the 3 p.m. streaming hour here on Fox Local. I'm your host, Tom Haines, with you live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom, bringing you up to date on all the stories that are breaking and happening today. We do have breaking news out of Washington we want to tell you about. Fox News learning that President Trump has fired Attorney General Pam Bondi following a meeting in the Oval Office Wednesday night. Sources say the ouster occurred just before the president's national address on the war in Iran, with Bondi reportedly already on her way back to Florida, her home state, by the time he took the stage last night. The EPA Director Lee Zeldin emerging as a top contender to replace her following a White House meeting earlier this week. While the White House insists the pair maintain a good relationship, the move marks a stunning and sudden shakeup at the top of the Justice Department. The president posting on Truth Social that he is fond of Pam Bondi, that she did an amazing job at justice. However, she is pursuing opportunities in the private sector. Of course, stay with us on this story. We'll continue to bring you updates out of Washington as we get them. Moving on, there's some interesting new DNA evidence that's officially linking the infamous serial killer Ted Bundy to a 1974 murder in Utah, we understand. For decades, the death of 17-year-old Laura Ann Amy remained an open case despite a death row confession from Bundy before his 1989 execution. Using new forensic technology acquired last year, investigators were able to extract a profile from degraded samples preserved from the scene. The Utah Department of Public Safety confirmed the DNA match this week, finally closing the case for good. Bundy's believed to have killed at least 30 women and girls across the country before he was finally brought to justice. A lot of those murders happening in the northern part of Florida at the time. The USDA is coming out with a warning to check your freezers of a recall on great value dino-shaped chicken nuggets sold at area Walmarts due to unsafe levels of lead. The USDA coming out with that recall. The bags have a best if used by date of February the 10th. 2027. Officials say that you should throw the nuggets away or return them to the store for a full refund. Boy, oil prices, we can't shake the over $4 a gallon situation as they have surged to over $107 a barrel today as tensions in the Middle East threaten the Strait of Hormuz. The 13% spike following a warning from President Trump of possible military action against Iran within the next few weeks, although the president did say that the conflict there might be winding down. Prices eased slightly this morning amid reports that Iran and Oman may be negotiating a transit monitoring deal. Trump attributing the surge to Iranian attacks on commercial tankers, calling the regime's actions deranged. So we'll continue to watch the price of oil as that situation continues to unfold. All right, something else that's unfolding is our weather as we head into the Easter weekend. Meteorologist Lauren Robinson here tracking what feels like early summertime weather, Lauren, but all that's going to change after this weekend.
It's going to change on Easter Sunday, really. So if you have outdoor plans, which most of us do have outdoor plans on Easter Sunday, you know, what good is an Easter egg hunt if you're not doing it outdoors? But you might need to look at a plan B as we go through this particular Easter Sunday. Now, it's not going to be a complete washout of a day, but we do have those shower and storm chances. In the meantime, we're pretty dry and warm this afternoon. Right now, we're at 81 degrees in downtown Atlanta. Most of North Georgia has warmed into the upper 70s to low 80s, and we're not done quite yet. I think we still get a degree or two warmer as we move through the rest of this afternoon. So we're continuing to watch for those winds coming in from the southeast. A little gusty at times, maybe up to 15, 20 miles per hour, but those southeastern winds are guiding in warm, moist air. So over the next few days, we're going to look for very spotty shower chances before things really get ramped up this weekend. Now, as we take a look at our live Viper radar, this is where you can see not a whole lot happening across the southeast, but we do have some pretty strong weather in the northwest, specifically moving its way out of Iowa and into areas like Chicago, where we're going to look for some tornado watches there. A different story here. We're mostly quiet. That moisture that's moving in from the southeast, along with those warmer temperatures, could bring a stray raindrop here or there. It really shouldn't be anything that'll impact any sort of outdoor plans you have today. So if you're going golfing after work, you should be fine this afternoon. The next few days, though, those chances will increase a little bit each day. Now, we can see that here on our hour-by-hour forecast. Not a whole lot happening this afternoon. Maybe a raindrop here or there, but nothing too impactful. We go into the day tomorrow. We continue to see that moisture pushing in from the south. Now, most of tomorrow's activity is looking to fall south of our viewing area, mostly in central and southern portions of Georgia and into Florida there, where you can see those brighter colors. Across most of North Georgia tomorrow, we're looking at kind of what we're seeing today. Mostly dry conditions, increased cloud cover, maybe a quick shower here and there. Maybe a storm pops up south of the I-20 corridor, but we're not looking for anything too widespread tomorrow. As we go into Saturday, those chances increase a bit Saturday afternoon, leading to a line of storms coming in from the west by Saturday evening into Sunday morning for Easter morning. So that's where we're looking for the majority of the precipitation off to the west there. That'll pass through as we move through early Sunday. That's what's going to leave our grounds, maybe our lawns, a little bit damp as you're planting those Easter eggs for the kiddos on Easter Sunday. In the meantime, this afternoon, I think temperatures do get a couple degrees warmer. I think we make it into the lower to middle 80s. And take a look at our overnight lows. Later tonight and into tomorrow morning, we stay very warm with temperatures only dropping into the lower 60s. So the next few days, we're going to stay warm, and each day we're going to see those shower and storm chances increase. But what you really want to pay attention to will be the forecast Saturday and going into Easter Sunday, because those are looking to be our stormiest days. That's also when we're going to see cooler weather push behind that front as that front pushes through Sunday.
All right, and Sunday timing-wise, a lot of people doing Easter egg hunts, getting the family over for Easter dinner. This is going to be sort of kind of an all-day situation, right?
Not all day. I think the storms will push through early Sunday morning,
Okay.
which is kind of when people want to do the Easter egg hunts or maybe going out to church Easter Sunday. But they should be passing through. It's not looking like an all-day washout, but the flip side of that is the grounds will be wet. So,
it's gonna be soggy out there.
even though the storms will push through likely early Sunday, you still kind of have that sogginess out there. So,
but I guess we need the rain, which is good.
We need the rain. We do desperately need the rain.
And it's bringing in some cooler weather, which is also good.
Yeah.
Lauren, thanks. Got some news from the Atlanta Falcons going retro with new uniforms, which were announced today. Take a look, marking a return to red as the centerpiece of the team's identity. The redesigned look honors franchise history with a primary home set featuring black helmets, red jerseys, and white pants. Take a look at what some of the players had to think about the new uniforms.
What we got, bro? Come on, Joey, show me something special, man. Let's see what we got here. Oh my God. Oh man. Ooh, okay. I can drip in this. About time, man. Hard. Yes. I love it. Yep. 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 Ah, let's go.
They were built by Nike for modern performance. Team officials say the classic look signals a new era for the organization. All right, let's talk about an event that is headed our way in just a couple of months now. Tyler Fingert here following fans trying to get over to the United States. So many people. We're expecting hundreds of thousands of fans here in the metro Atlanta area, many of them from outside the country. And the question is, it could be difficult for some fans to even get over here.
Yep. To answer or to comment on your first point, about 500,000 visitors are expected here in Atlanta. And according to the U.S. State Department, during an interview today that I had with them, they told me anywhere from 5 million to 7 million people are expected in the U.S. for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And obviously, federal officials are working around the clock on visas for international fans. But the reality is not everyone who wants one is going to be able to get one. As Atlanta prepares to host hundreds of thousands of fans for the World Cup, the U.S. State Department expects, again, at least 5 million fans and people to come to the U.S. for the World Cup. And so the State Department has launched the FIFA Pass, as it's known, to fast-track visa appointments for fans with tickets. But it says, don't confuse fast with easy. That could mean not every fan will make it in. Visitors from some countries, due to current U.S. travel restrictions, may not be able to enter at all. And the U.S. State Department says to handle the surge of applicants, more than 600 staffers have been deployed worldwide working to process millions of visas. So that's at the different consulates and the embassies around the world. And behind the scenes, the State Department says federal teams have deployed to every host city, including Atlanta. Officials say it's all about striking a balance, welcoming the world while protecting our country. The tournament is expected to create more than, get this, 180,000 jobs. And Tom, bring billions to the economy, according to the State Department. And I was able to talk to a State Department official today about what they're doing. Take a listen.
We are using the highest standards of visa vetting and screening on every applicant to make sure they have good intentions, safe intentions when they come to the United States. Additionally, we're focusing on accessibility. For the first time under this president's administration's leadership, we have a FIFA priority appointment scheduling system. This allows individuals who are coming to the United States with a legitimate FIFA World Cup ticket to be able to expedite their visa appointment to make sure they can get here for the games in time. And third, for all of the viewers, we can't really take credit for this, but we know that based on the American citizens, we're going to have American excellence, hospitality, and ingenuity on full display. This will be one of the most epic World Cups in World Cup history.
And so, Tom, those are for people who are coming into our country. What about people who are here in Georgia, people watching right now, or anywhere throughout the Southeast? If you are planning to go attend maybe a World Cup match in, say, Mexico or Canada, since they're also hosting this along with us, the State Department says that you need to be checking your passport now. You need to make sure you have at least 6 months of validity. Obviously, depending where you go, some countries also require several extra pages in your passport for stamping. I know Mexico specifically, you have to have space for a stamp. When I went back in January, I got a stamp in my passport.
Unusual, because they usually don't stamp anymore.
A lot of Mexico is one of those that they do the stamp. I wish I had my passport on me. I'd show it to you. But they do say that you should also go to the State Department's website and sign up for notifications. I believe it's called their STEP program. That way, if there is some sort of issue in the country, say an attack of some sort, they can immediately notify U.S. citizens of the issue and try to, if they need to get a hold of you, they can kind of know where you are. And obviously that's for safety reasons if you are worried. In some other countries, like maybe places that are less safe for U.S. citizens, that's vitally important to do, because if you tell the State Department that you are there, they'll know to be on the lookout for you if something major happens, because you can obviously go to an embassy or a consulate around the world.
It's interesting, getting a visa to come visit the United States is not an easy process. B1, B2 visa. It gives a resident, or a visitor rather, 6 months in this country. One of the things that the United States government is worried about is people overstaying their visas once they get here and then falling out of status, so to speak. So this sort of opens a little bit of a Pandora's box, but I guess the State Department is saying, look, show us your ticket, show us that you're really coming over to watch FIFA World Cup, and we'll try to expedite your process. But it's an otherwise, for people trying to visit the United States, a very, very difficult process to go through.
Well, and there's also different levels of visas. We obviously know there's an immigration visa, which has kind of been slowed down the process for that in certain countries. Tourist visas are different, but we do know that there are several countries that tourist visas aren't even going to be allowed. We know, like Iran is not going to be, any visitors from Iran are not going to be able to come here besides the teams and their support system and coaches and things like that. So certainly a lot to watch here. But again, as the State Department spokesperson was telling me over and over, their goal is national security and keeping the country safe.
Job one. Tyler, good information. Thanks. When we come back, a very prominent school here in the Metro Atlanta area suddenly shutting its doors when we come back. Welcome back to the 3 p.m. streaming hour. I'm your host, Tom Haines, with you live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom, where we are always on duty here. We appreciate you streaming with us on our mobile app on your phone. If you've got it downloaded, Fox Local, glad you're here. If you're watching on one of your live channels at home, welcome to you as well. Or on one of our social media sites on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. We certainly appreciate your comments on all the stories we're covering. We do read through all of them. Or if you're on the radio with us, 107.9 HD2 FM, certainly glad you're with us today as well. A major announcement from one of the prominent schools in DeKalb County. We're talking about Midtown International School, suddenly announcing yesterday that it is shutting its doors as of Friday. All right, so you got a kid there that goes to school, and you get a notice that they're shutting their doors. What are you supposed to do for the remainder of the school year? And then, what about your graduation track? What about the faculty that work at this prestigious school? And the future of the property that it sits on. This school is right on Briarcliff Road and Sheridan Road in a very, very desirable area. One of the teachers spoke to us about the future of not only the students, but the faculty there.
We're seeing that coming over time. We haven't seen the growth that we wanted. We had a big meeting with all the middle school students, and I remember in particular one of the students said, I'm an empath and I really feel for the teachers right now. Like, he actually started crying on behalf of the teachers. We're putting in our grades and making sure that we're trying to help students transfer to other schools and writing recommendation letters and things like that.
And so the decision made by the school's board and the administration, this after 20 kindergarten through 7th grade students left the school. This is a tuition-based school, so, maybe times are tough for the families that attend Midtown International. Teachers said it's been emotional. They're doing what they can to help students. The president speaking last night on the situation in Iran, giving us an update, saying that the military could conclude its offensive against Iran in the next 2 to 3 weeks, while signaling a shift in responsibility for securing the Strait of Hormuz to nations that depend on it for oil and shipping. The president saying that the United States is very oil independent, and so it will be up to those nations that rely on the gas and oil that pass through the strait to secure it. The president telling Americans Wednesday night that after 32 days of Operation Epic Fury, Iran is essentially really no longer a threat.
Thanks to the progress we've made, I can say tonight that we are on track to complete all of America's military objectives shortly, very shortly. We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to bring them back to the Stone Ages where they belong. In the meantime, discussions are ongoing. Regime change was not our goal. We never said regime change, but regime change has occurred because of all of their original leaders' death. They're all dead. The new group is less radical and much more reasonable. Yet if during this period of time no deal is made, we have our eyes on key targets. If there is no deal, we are going to hit each and every one of their electric generating plants very hard and probably simultaneously. We have not hit their oil, even though that's the easiest target of all, because it would not give them even a small chance of survival or rebuilding. But we could hit it, and it would be gone, and there's not a thing they could do about it. They have no anti-aircraft equipment. Their radar is 100% annihilated. We are unstoppable as a military force. The nuclear sites that we obliterated with the B-2 bombers have been hit so hard that it would take months to get near the nuclear dust. And we have it under intense satellite surveillance and control. If we see them make a move, even a move for it, we'll hit them with missiles very hard again. We have all the cards, they have none. It's very important that we keep this conflict in perspective. They were the bully of the Middle East, but they're the bully no longer. This is a true investment in your children and your grandchildren's future. The whole world is watching, and they can't leave the power, strength, and brilliance. They just can't believe what they're seeing. They leave it to your imagination, but they can't believe what they're seeing, the brilliance of the United States military. Tonight, every American can look forward to a day when we are finally free from the wickedness of Iranian aggression and the specter of nuclear blackmail. Because of the actions we have taken, we are on the cusp of ending Iran's sinister threat to America and the world. And I'll tell you, the world is watching. And when we do, when it's all over, the United States will be safer, stronger, more prosperous, and greater than it has ever been before.
The president speaking from the White House last night on the situation in Iran, saying that the operation has about 2 to 3 weeks left and that the United States plans to hit Iran very hard in the coming days unless they come to the negotiating table and work out a settlement with the United States. The president saying those economic gains all positioned us to get rid of a cancer that has long simmered. Well, on to a lighter note now, and the launching of the Artemis II rocket yesterday. Perhaps you saw it. It was quite an extraordinary sight. Rebecca Castor was among those who had a front row seat to the launch at the Kennedy Space Center. Rebecca, that was quite a spectacular display yesterday. We were all kind of sitting on the edge of our seats as these 4 astronauts went into orbit and are now on their way to the moon. What is the latest there from the Kennedy Space Center and on the progress of this mission?
Hey, Tom. Well, yesterday, the clock behind me was counting down. Now, obviously, it's counting up. We are over 21 hours into this really cool mission. Right now, the astronauts are still in what's called high Earth orbit, so they aren't too far away from us quite yet, although still very far from you and me here on Earth. And they're doing critical tests on the Orion spacecraft right now. They want to make sure that everything is in working order before they head to the moon. They're testing the navigation and flight systems, the communication systems with Houston, as well as other life support systems, such as, do they have clean water? Is the spacecraft effectively discarding the carbon dioxide they're breathing out? So everything that is critical to making sure that this spacecraft is ready to go further into space. And if everything's working properly, then the main event is going to happen later this evening. It's called the translunar injection burn, and that is what's going to send them on that path to the moon.
And, people are watching this with such enthusiasm, Rebecca. How can they keep up with the mission and watch these astronauts as they head to the moon? And then how can we see some of the images that they're about to send back to us?
Yeah, so what's so cool is this mission is going on in the social media age, and NASA is doing a great job of putting out everything, all the live pictures and videos from the Orion spacecraft, so people can actually go online, go to the NASA website and follow along really minute by minute and see what these astronauts are experiencing up there.
And, they just lifted off yesterday, but how long is this mission expected to last? It is a long ways from here to the moon, I guess. And when are these astronauts expected to make their way back?
Yeah, so they are going to travel 252,000 miles away from Earth. That is the furthest that any humans have gone before. They're going to break the record that the Apollo 13 crew set. It's a 10-day mission, so they are on track. If everything goes correctly today and they press on towards the moon, they will be on track to return to Earth on April 10th. They are going to splash down in the Pacific Ocean off the coast of San Diego.
This is an extraordinary mission in and of itself, but this is sort of setting the table, right, for the eventual mission in which astronauts will actually land on the moon and get out of the spacecraft the same way they did more than 40 years ago.
Right. So on this mission, they are testing the Orion spacecraft, and they're also testing other equipment such as their flight suits and making sure that it is ready to put humans back on the moon in 2028. NASA says that they are on track with that timeline, and that's going to be just the first step to establishing a long-term presence on the moon. NASA wants to put a base camp there that will ultimately be what catapults humans to Mars, maybe in this decade, maybe next decade. We'll keep watching it.
So cool, and so cool that you got a front row seat. That must have been some impactful liftoff to watch. I'm sure you could actually feel it in your body. It's so intense, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you definitely felt that rumble in the pit of your stomach. And the thing I've been describing it as is it sounded like thousands of fireworks were all being set off at one time. The loudest fireworks show I've ever attended. Really cool to see all of that smoke come out from the rocket as well, and just the huge cloud of smoke that it left behind.
What an extraordinary assignment and great coverage for us live from the Kennedy Space Center. Rebecca Castor. Rebecca, thanks. Staying on the subject of space, how's this for cool? Students at Walnut Grove Elementary in Gwinnett County actually got to talk to astronauts on board the International Space Station. Our Chris Rosenthal was there as they did that.
These students here at Walnut Grove Elementary have had an incredible experience this morning getting to speak with astronaut Chris Williams aboard the International Space Station. They had only about a 10-minute window to speak to the astronaut as the International Space Station passed overhead, traveling at over 17,000 miles per hour, only 250 miles above Earth. This is made possible through amateur radio, through ham radio, you may know of it as, and gave him the opportunity to ask him some questions and get some interesting answers as to what life is like on space.
When he first spoke, it was super exciting because it was just hearing an astronaut for the first time, and when I got to speak to him, it was super duper cool.
Hi, my name is Atia. When outside the station on a spacewalk, what is the most unbelievable feeling you have looking down on Earth? Over.
Hey, that's a great question. I went on a spacewalk just a couple weeks ago, and one of the most unbelievable feelings is just how small you are and how big the Earth is, which you really get a perspective of when you're out there in your spacesuit. Over.
Hi, I'm Sinclair. What is the coolest thing you have seen the Earth do from space? Over.
Hi, Sinclair. I think the coolest thing I've seen is the northern lights. We get to see those a lot from up here. And there was one day where there was a solar storm, and so the sky was glowing green and red outside our windows, which was really cool. Over.
Hi, my name is Madison. Do you feel famous when you're in space, or does it just feel like you're doing your job? Over.
Great question, Madison. I just feel like I'm just doing my job up here every day. Yeah, I don't feel famous at all. Over.
Hi, my name is Paige. Do you have any habits that you do in space that you think you'll keep doing when you get back to Earth? Over.
Hey, Paige. Yeah, I think every evening, as I was saying before, I like to look out the windows and look at the Earth. And it's just nice to have a little bit of time to sit peacefully and think. And I think that's something I'm going to try to keep doing when I get back to Earth. Over.
Hi, my name's Torben. When you return to Earth, what sounds do you hear all day and all night on the space station? Or is it quiet? Over.
Hey, Torben. There's a lot of fans on the space station. Without gravity, air doesn't move around all that much. You don't have something called convection working for us. So there's tons of fans on the space station to keep air moving. And so we hear fans all the time. Over.
When you saw those kids asking the questions and also, the ones in the audience watching, I mean, how does that make you feel?
It makes your heart happy. It was a great experience. We'd do it all over again.
This opportunity took months in the making. The school had to actually apply for this opportunity. Only about 100 schools a year get this opportunity to speak with an astronaut. And the students had been studying for months about space and decorating their entire school with sort of a space themes. So truly a unforgettable and exciting opportunity for these students today. Back to you.
All right, Chris, thanks. Yeah, what an experience, one that they'll remember for a lifetime. And I love the crisp back and forth between those students' questions and the answer from the astronaut on board the International Space Station. Very, very cool to watch. Well, the Thunderbirds are in Atlanta this weekend. We understand they're practicing right now. We may be able to get to see a bit of that with our Eli Jordan when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. The Thunderbirds are going to be in Metro Atlanta this weekend. The elite Air Force pilots going to be at Winds Over North Georgia Air Show up in Rome. That is where we find our Eli Jordan out there live looking for the Thunderbirds, practicing for this weekend's big show. Hey, Eli.
Hey, I got a Thunderbird on my shoulder, over my shoulder. Hey, how's it going, Tom? Yeah, this is really cool. Wings over North Georgia. This tomorrow and Saturday, not Sunday, but come on out tomorrow. 1 o'clock, the parking lot opens. 8 a.m. Saturday, the parking lot opens. It'll be cool. The Thunderbirds will be flying tomorrow around 4:40 and Saturday around 4 o'clock. So, but right now they're about to do a little practice. They're going to come marching toward us. That's what they call it. It's very ceremonial. I got to see the pilots come out with their assistants and everything. And here to talk a little bit more about it is Hannah Durbin, who is with the Thunderbirds. Hey, Hannah, how you doing?
Hey, great. Happy to be here.
There we go. And so, tell me, I mean, what did we see earlier where they came the ceremonial ritual, I guess?
So this is the Thunderbird ground ceremony. People know the Thunderbirds because of the precision of the jets in the air and the pilots, but something that's really special to the team is the precision of everyone on the team. So we've got maintainers on our show line. They're assigned to every jet, and they are preparing the jets to take off, and then as soon as the jets leave and land, they're turning them for the next rotation. Oh, turning engines on here, getting ready to fly our practice demo for today.
All right, and the canopies are closing here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so you got to fly a demonstration yesterday.
Yeah, I was with Thunderbird 4 in the back seat, so we flew a low show today. And then here they're going to do the whole thing with all 6 jets again.
Cool. It's going to be kind of hard to talk out here.
Yeah, it's okay. They're meant to taxi, so
I'm going to let us kind of like watch this a little bit. And let's see, they're going to about to take off.
Eli, we're just watching along with you as these guys get ready to taxi out onto the runway there, practicing for this weekend event. Again, this is going to be tomorrow and Saturday, which is a good thing because I understand that the weather could be iffy coming up on Sunday, which may preclude them from actually taking to the skies. But it is noisy out there, so I'm just going to kind of narrate with you what's happening. Again, this is the Winds Over North Georgia Air Show. This is taking place in Rome, and these are the Thunderbirds, which are sort of rehearsing for this show. It's amazing the formation that these jets can fly in. And by the way, it's amazing how close those people are standing to the jets as they get ready to taxi for takeoff. I'm counting at least 6 jets there. But look at some of the media that are gathered there watching this happen as well. This is the elite group of Air Force pilots. By the way, the Blue Angels were supposed to perform last October, but the government shutdown got in the way of that. So that didn't happen. But what a treat if you're able to head up to Rome, Georgia to watch this air show take place. As you can imagine, a lot of logistics go into getting these jets prepared to taxi and take off. They're loud, but they're fast, and they fly in perfect formation. Many of them might break the speed of sound as they pass over the airport, giving us that loud sonic boom that is so cool to watch. You could see a couple of them circling the airfield not too long ago. But what a treat if you're able to make it up to Rome. Tomorrow's weather should be okay for this, and Saturday as well. We're going to eke out a couple more days of just partly cloudy skies. Perfectly conducive to watch an air show like this. If you're able to get, if you have children or, young people, what a great opportunity to get out and see up close and personal the Thunderbirds as they perform and demonstrate and really inspire. right? Sometimes these events act as inspirational moments for young people to join the armed forces, to get into aviation perhaps, to learn how to fly, seeing the perfection with which these pilots carry out their mission. So it doesn't look like we're going to actually get to see the takeoff today, but we want to thank Eli Jordan and the crew out there in Atlanta at the Winds Over North Georgia Air Show in Rome. Eli and gang, thanks so much. Looks like a really, really extraordinary fun event to attend. That is going to do it for us here for the 3 p.m. streaming hour on Fox Local. I'm Tom Haines, live in the Fox 5 Atlanta newsroom. Don't go anywhere. The news continues right here, right now.
Yes.
Hey, just to give you a heads up, we're going to start with Pam Bondi, this breaking news about her getting out. And then we're going to go to you. The goal is that we're going to make it in that 5-minute window for your hit, the whole hit. But if we talk to you and we at least get your intro over in the package and you need to do your next hit, we can find on your package.
Copy that. Sounds good. Yesterday, the clock behind me was counting down. Okay, thanks.
Fox 5 News at 4 starts